The United Kingdom. It's burdened us with many terrible things over the years, but it's also the birthplace of a handful of good things. Gary Oldman. Fish and chips, I guess? And Richard Garriott. Son of genuine NASA astronaut Owen Garriott, Richard was born in Cambridge, England, although he was moved to the safety and normalcy of the US soon after. Initially hoping to follow in his father's footsteps, Garriott changed his career plans to become a game developer, after learning that his eyesight was too crummy to take part in anything that cool. Garriott's first game project was Akalabeth, a simple dungeon-crawling RPG programmed during his freshman year of college. Inspired by D&D, Akalabeth was one of the first PC RPGs of its kind, and made enough headway to pave a road for the follow-up game, Ultimatum. Ultimatum was more complex than its predecessor, keeping the first-person dungeon crawl segments, but adding further innovations, such as an overhead map to traverse, quests to take on, and even sections in outer space, perhaps as a nod to his old man. Because the name was already in use for a pre-existing board game, Garriott shortened the title to Ultima. Ultima was a revolutionary RPG for its time, establishing mechanics that would be adopted by Dragon Quest, Final Fantasy, and more in the years that followed. Before long, its sales were enough to make Garriott wealthier than even his astronaut dad. Take that, NASA, you underpaid scientist idiots! But, as a nod to his heritage, Garriott still employed his pseudonym, which he was apparently proud of, Lord British. Today, we crawl back into the dungeons to fight all manner of beast below, and maybe even take to the stars above, as we tackle Ultima I, the first Age of Darkness. It's a video game podcast.
Wow.
And there's so much to discuss. One of us knows all about them.
That's you.
And the other one's a dunce.
That's me.
You're gonna learn about the very best games with two annoying dorks.
Fatality.
From asteroids to Zelda, from adventure to Zork. We have no life, and we feel no shame. We need your help, 'cause we're bad with games. The show has begun. My name is Jonathan.
My name is Will.
And we are
Bad with games. The show has begun, huh?
Yep.
Is that
The
our
show is
that's our-
beginning.
it's beginning. That's our new intro, I guess.
The show is begin. Begun the show has. It's Bad with Games, the video game podcast, where I know about the games and the other one, he doesn't. And now we're going to
don't.
get into it.
You know about this game this week?
I do now.
This week we
This
played...
week's game. Go ahead.
Yeah, what was it? Announce to everybody the game that you selected for me to play and learn all about video games so that I can know about them.
What's happening today? Why are the vibes weird? What's going on? This is not if this is someone's first episode, they are not happy about it.
This is somebody came in, they were like, I didn't give a shit about fucking Zelda and Castlevania and Mega.
Right.
You know what I wanted to hear about was Ultima. So this is where they started.
I
Why
mean,
didn't
you
start
joke,
on
but
episode 1.
there's some. This is episode Ultima 1.
Why wouldn't you start on Wizardry?
We sound like two people who don't really know each other that well, and we're like awkwardly trying to make conversation.
Do we?
Our game this week is Ultima, also known as Ultima I, the first Age of Darkness, which was released originally in 1981. The version that we played for this week came out in 1986, which is a recoded version of the game. It was originally released on Apple II, and coded in BASIC. The 86 version was coded in assembly and was hit Apple II as well as Commodore 64 and DOS. I almost said IBS. That's not right. And that is the more widely played version, although the two versions are mostly similar. It's really just graphical upgrades and some little enhancements and tweaks here and there. And that's what we're doing this week. One of the first role-playing games really ever released. This, of course, came out in the same year as Wizardry, the first Wizardry game, which we already covered a while back. Yep.
Okay, same year. Okay. That's
Same
relevant
year.
information, I think, for me.
For all of us, I think.
I don't know.
And we're gonna talk about it.
Shit.
People care. People care. Ultima is a big series. There are, I want to say, 9 of them. Although there hasn't been one in a long time. There were a lot of them, and they do, a lot like you might expect. Any long-running game series that started in the 80s and went on into the 90s tend to evolve as they go on.
Yeah, I would expect so.
Yeah, we're really looking at the roots of it today. You might call it the progenitor in some respects. So this is a long anticipated, a lot of people asked for this one.
Oh yeah, because all the positive feedback we got on Wizardry, everybody was like, oh my God, we need more of these. This is the thing.
Correct. And I do want to remind everyone that if you're listening to this as an audio podcast, we're on YouTube as well. You can find us there, /@badwithgames. And you can watch us playing this week's game. If you've never seen an Ultima, or maybe you don't know the original game, you'll watch our footage of it as we talk. And you can also support us on the Patreon, patreon.com/badwithgames. If you like the show, $5 a month gets you extra episodes every single week. Also want to say up front that last week we announced we're going to be doing an Extra Life gaming stream, and I set a date, and that date may or may not still be the actual date of it. And I'm here to tell you we don't know, and I'll let you know next week if that date has changed or not.
Oh no.
But it'll be sometime in December, okay? Let's just say that. It's going to be in December.
Okay, in December we'll do it.
That's what we think.
That is what we think.
What's really good is you should find us on Twitch. We are on Twitch, twitch.tv/badwithgames. So you could subscribe.
We are?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I made the name. Yeah, I registered it. Why not? I did that at the beginning. It's been in our episode descriptions every week.
Do remember you saying that. You did that.
Yeah.
I guess in my head it got confused. Oh, yeah. Are we?
Yeah. Yes. I've never posted anything, but yes, we have a Bluesky. It's every episode in the description. It tells you these things, and you've been able to follow these things all the time.
But why would I be reading the description? I already know what happens in these episodes.
Right, because you've already lived them.
Yes.
By the time, as of right now,
I've
already done this.
I know what happens in this episode in particular.
That is wild.
Like where we're going. Yeah.
That's crazy. All right. Anyway, that's the show business. Let's get into the game. Let's get into the stuff people want to hear about. We've talked at length about our experience with role-playing games, both tabletop and digital. And seeing as we're kind of in the same universe here as Wizardry, again, same year of release, I don't know that if there's going to be anything really to add in terms of our personal history with this series or the genre, unless you have something.
Yeah, I mean, I would recommend that our listeners go back and listen to the intros of the Wizardry and Final Fantasy episodes that we did to get a more full background on our RPG experiences. And then you can come back here and finish this if those games aren't really to your taste. I mean, I guess I do have a question, which is, to what degree were you familiar with the existence of Ultima as a game or a series?
So I was aware of the Ultima series. I have heard, I've never played any of them before this week, but it's really Ultima 7, I think, is the one that I've heard At least one person that I follow, not a person I know in real life, but like on the old gamer people,
Hmm.
refer to as being a really important game for them. So I don't have personal attachment to it or history or knowledge of it
Hmm.
really, but I know that there is a game. There are multiple games in the series, and I've always been sort of curious about them. I also there's some there's like an intro. I believe it is 7, which is maybe Ultima Quest for the Avatar. I want to say is what it's called, is maybe 7, unless that's like 4 or something. Oh, sorry, 4 is Quest of the Avatar. But there's one of them that has an intro where this narrator goes Avatar that I really like, and I've sometimes hear that in my head, kind of like a vocal stim,
Hmm.
Avatar. And
Sure.
here's a fun fact for you on that note. As long as I'm fucking rambling like an idiot,
Yeah, and you said
that
you'd have nothing to say.
that game Ultima 4 Quest of the Avatar, that is why we call things avatars on the internet.
Whoa.
That is the first. This series is responsible for the first time a character in a game, a representation of a person, was referred to as an avatar.
Whoa.
Fucking crazy, right?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
bet
that is
now you're
cool.
not so ready to shit all over the Ultima series, are you?
I mean, I wasn't necessarily gonna shit over it just as like a nobody cares about this type of thing. I mean, I guess I kind of did a little bit, but yeah, like that is interesting. That is interesting because like technically that is just what the word avatar meant. So, but there are a bunch of synonyms that it could have been. Yeah, interesting. So does this mean that we're going to be playing Ultima 4 and Ultima 7 at some point?
We can talk about that later on in the show, but maybe, maybe.
Hmm. Interesting.
I do think it would be interesting. I personally would like to explore more of this series. I don't know whether or not it is a good fit for the show or when that would happen, but
Hmm.
you know
Sure.
that
Yeah.
maybe the listeners can help us out with that if they're familiar with it.
Yeah. You can always feel free to write into us. I think you already gave
I didn't
your
say that,
spiel.
but yeah, you
Or
can
you didn't
email
give your
us
spiel? Okay.
badwithgamespodcast@gmail.com. There's so many parts of the spiel. Sometimes I don't get to all of them.
Yeah, that's fair. I didn't remember what you said. And I mean, I was only half listening, but
I
I
get it.
mean, so for me personally on Ultima,
You've never
yeah, I
heard
mean,
of it.
there's a reason that I asked you if you'd heard of it. I'm definitely aware of Ultima as a thing that is related to role-playing video games. I am aware that Ultima is some kind of Final Fantasy thing, but I felt like maybe I had heard of it outside of that context, but I was not 100% sure. So part of the reason to check in with you is because if you're all like, yeah, everybody talks about Ultima, then I could say, yeah, I guess I have heard of it as a series. And if you were like, no, I've never heard, I didn't know anything about it, then I would have said, okay, it was just Final Fantasy. So, but basically, no, I've never really heard of it before.
I'm right there in the middle. Now, what do you when you say it's like a Final Fantasy thing? You just mean it's like that style of game,
No,
or
there's like
was
a thing. I don't know.
is there a
Like
thing in
there's
Final
something
Fantasy called
from
Ultima?
yeah, or something like this. Maybe it's like a sub I don't remember. I honestly don't remember. I couldn't tell you, but I do know there's an associated subtitle, boss, spell. I don't know.
Yeah, let's see. It's on the Final Fantasy wiki. There's a spell called Ultima.
Okay, it's a spell.
Final Fantasy 7, there's like a materia called. Yeah, there's just
No,
been
sure.
things throughout the series. Different games have used that word, but I don't think there's like a real.
Yeah,
Oh, the Ultima is like a. It's
right.
it's more like a little thing.
Okay. Well, that would be why I don't have a specific association with it then. Um yeah,
Yeah.
I mean that's fun because I guess that means that that's a callback to this game, right? A little tip of the hat, right? To
hmm
the progenitor as you
From.
said.
Yes, yes. I mean, this game and Wizardry both are really weirdly these unsung heroes of role playing games, right? Because
Mhm.
it seems like pretty much everything in this genre stemmed from one or both of these two games. And in spite of both of them being successful and having like a dozen games in their each respective series, give or take, nobody anymore cares about them. They've never really there have been like little remakes here and there and ports, but there's never been a big revival. No one has cared to come out with a new modern day Ultima or Wizardry. They've just everybody, once Final Fantasy became the big hit in the US and in Japan it was Dragon Quest more. Those I think those games just stole all the thunder, and I don't know. I think these two games deserve more thunder. Even though I hated Wizardry, we'll talk about Ultima today. Clearly, there's just so much. I mean, in particular, we'll get into it, but in particular, Ultima, I thought, having now after we played the first Final Fantasy game, I felt like, man, there's so much Final Fantasy. It seems really just kind of
Mhm.
lifted directly from this game.
Yeah, this feels this is why it was so interesting to me that you said that this was the same year as Wizardry, because this really feels um like
An evolution.
yeah, like this feels like Wizardry but with more stuff built on top of it in some ways. And then Final Fantasy feel like this is the missing link between Wizardry and Final Fantasy, so to speak. So yeah, it's interesting to think these were just two takes, I guess, on the same idea. And
Yeah,
I
it
guess I can
is.
see that. I can see that. And I guess we'll talk about that too. There will be listen, I think that a thorough background knowledge of wizardry might be necessary to understanding this episode, right? This might be like a
Yeah.
102 level course. You might need to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be. There will be a lot of comparisons to Wizardry for sure
Mhm,
today, and even you said go back and listen to that and Final Fantasy, but even Zork and Cave
mhm,
Adventure, right? I still feel like maybe that's the real deviation that happened from Dragon Quest and to Final Fantasy and onward, is this and Wizardry both still sort of live in a text adventure world a little bit. We've
mhm.
gotten much farther away from it in Ultima, but there's still text. There's still a
Yes.
lot of text. So, yeah, I don't know. It's
Yes,
interesting to see these connections.
it is interesting. So, um yeah, because that's actually something that in many ways, my modern sensibilities found that confusing. There were times where the fact that there were graphics confused me because I thought I should engage with them like graphics. I can explain what that means a little bit more later, but I guess we can like just maybe lay down the basics of what this game like is.
Well, we could, but don't you think we should first cover it?
Oh, that's true. It hasn't been. It's a bit uncovered at the moment. That's
That's
not
right.
really, yeah. It's not, won't fly in polite society. Lord
No, no,
British
no.
would scoff and "Oof, oof, oh."
You would scoff.
Yeah.
We must cover it by entering the box art breakdown. We're going to take a look at the Ultima 1 box art, which you can see on YouTube or else you can Google it for yourself. This
Mhm,
is the 1986 version of the game. Now, I don't know. Honestly, I didn't even look into this. I think the original release maybe didn't even have box art, or like I think
mm.
it might have just been they put some floppy disks in an envelope and,
Yeah,
and
I
mailed it to
would
you.
believe it. I would believe it. The like, player reference reminder card that I have for this, the version I played, you don't have to do it, but, like, up at the top, it's getting started. Insert thine Ultima disk label side up in thy disk drive and turn on thy computer. Type the following. Load, quote, asterisk, unquote, comma, 8, comma, 1, return. This is an insane way to start. So I would 100% believe that these were just distributed as floppy disks in envelopes.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's not what we're going to look at here. We won't be
No,
judging an envelope.
no.
Uh, this is a box art here which depicts presumably the protagonist of the game that you play as, a guy on a black horse with a sword, a shield, and armor. In the foreground and the back, there's a bunch of lava everywhere. He appears to be inside of some kind of volcano or something.
Hmm.
And emerging from the lava is a big dragon head
Hmm.
with its tongue out, looks angry. Um, Ultima One is what it says at the top by
Hmm.
Lord British.
By Lord, I mean that. Fuck off. By Lord British. You can go fuck yourself, I think, dude. You're
So
not
let's
this. What a loser. What was his name? Fucking Mr. Garriott?
yeah, so Richard Garriott is the
Richard
creator of
Garriott.
Ultima, and so the
Jesus
apparently the
Christ.
so he is American, but he was born in England, and apparently in like his friend circles, they gave him the nickname British, as you know, like kind of a fun like,
Bec-
hey British, you're fucking British. You
uh-huh.
know how that's
Eh,
fun. Like wherever
Yeah, yeah,
someone's
yeah.
from, it could be like, hey,
Right.
here comes fucking Connecticut or whatever,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you
No,
know.
I get it. I get it.
And he took that as his moniker, and that's why, yes, the game
Lord British.
is by Lord British, and also Lord British is a character in the game too. So
Yeah, I mean that even more so. Like, and he puts it. It's he fucking credits him. Jesus, like It's one thing for that to be a fun little in joke with your friends, right?
now, how much of this would you like? What if he was born in, I don't know, Canada, and it was Lord Canada? Would it still bother you, or is it the British part
Not
that's
as
really offending
much.
you?
Not as much.
Mm.
Like that. It does. Like it does compound for sure. But it is just. It's such loser shit.
Look, he made a video game. Like everyone who was doing this
Yeah.
was a loser
Right.
at the
No, you're
time.
it's true. It's true. It's just you don't have to brand yourself as one.
It
You
is
notice
sort
it's
of
it's Sid Meier's pirates, not like I don't fucking know, the Pirate Man's pirates. Captain I don't whatever. Nerd.
it is a
Captain
stupid
Nerd.
pseudonym. It's also sort of confusing because, you know, everyone in these games speaks in kind of a medieval
Mhm.
English. And so it's I don't know, it feels like playing a game about like feudal Japan and there's a guy named Lord Japanese. It's like sort of just confusing. It's like that's it. Like, is that a joke? What is that? I
Mhm.
don't get it. But the game doesn't actually take place in Japan. It's in the land of Sardonia or something like that.
Yeah, Salamia?
It's not Salamia.
Shalomia?
That's it. Shalomia. Salam Alekima. Um, how about this actual art though? What do you think?
Yeah, so the thing that's very striking to me, I mean, the first thing obviously is just the fact that he's riding on a horse in lava, which is a little crazy. But the thing that then immediately strikes me is that this dragon looks very. It looks like a statue of a dragon come to life, right?
I was gonna say
Um,
the exact same thing. It looks metallic.
yeah, it's like a bronze dragon. Now I don't know the deep like D&D bestiary. Is there like a bronze or copper dragon?
Bestiary.
And if there is one, is it like just the color or is it actually supposed to be like made of metal?
There's definitely a copper dragon. I don't think they're made of metal. I think it's just for their coloring or maybe like their elemental types, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
I don't know. My D&D campaigns we never got far enough to have a lot of
Yeah,
dragons in
I
them.
don't think
So,
most people do.
right. Maybe a green dragon might have been in the I think that's in the 5e starter set. Maybe there's a green one.
Mm,
I don't remember. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I think it's just an artistic
mhm.
happenstance. Actually, it doesn't it sort of look like he actually is wearing a helmet? Like on the front, on the top of his head, it
Interesting.
kind of looks like that part is not part of his skin.
It blends well enough that it feels like it is part of his body, but you are right. Like it's you know what I mean? Like this would be a thick like a natural helmet made of scales or just he's made out of the metal, so he's got like a little helm section. It does. It hangs over the edge and off the edge of his nose. I don't quite it doesn't feel like the seam is everywhere, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, There is no dragon in this game. There is no dragon. Can you be on
There are
horseback?
dragon turtles. You can be on a horse. I
You
don't think I
can,
ever
okay.
did it. I think I
No, I
skipped the
never did
horse.
it. Yeah,
I
I did
wonder
too.
I wonder if the horse can go over like mountains or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It seemed pointless. I never tried it.
Yeah, I
But
never bothered.
yeah, I don't it is and remember this box art was made 5 years later, so they
Hmm.
had lots of time to really know what this game was about and give it
Yeah, not really
demonstrate
any
that.
lava either in this game.
No, I
Not
don't
really.
think there's any. Oh, maybe there is a little bit at the very end. I'll talk about that
Mm,
later. Um, but
mm.
yeah, it's a strange. It's it's okay. It's kind of cool. It's a little generic, and also like you said, how did this guy get into this situation where he had
Mhm.
It looks like he is on an island of I don't know what do you call that, magma, or what's the
Yeah, I
solid
guess.
lava called? Is that magma?
Yeah, well, magma or some form of igneous rock.
Like, how did he get his horse into
Yeah.
this place and now he's trapped there? It doesn't really make sense, but it makes for kind of a cool image, I suppose.
The
Catches the eye.
horse also kinda looks artificial, doesn't it? Like, it doesn't really have much of an expression. It
Yeah,
looks like a fucking carousel horse.
the guy also looks weird. You can't really see
Yeah.
his face. It's just this stumpy little guy.
Mhm.
It all looks strangely, as you said, artificial and stiff, I would say. Like, it looks like you said, the dragon looks like a statue. It looks like a painting, not really like a real thing. And what's this guy about to do? He's gonna do what? It looks like he's ready to attack from like 50 feet away with a
Mhm.
pool of lava between. What's his plan?
What's wrong with you, dude? God, Jesus Christ. How
Fucking
stupid
idiot.
can you be? Ugh.
Uh
Yeah,
anyway,
I mean, I do think that all of the lava is striking. I do really like the dragon design. On the other hand, like they did know what this game was about, and this to me doesn't really represent the gameplay experience, right? It would be better off in like a dungeon in a mountain, and maybe there would be some evil guys, or maybe there would be some weird out of place sci-fi element. And you'd be like, what the fuck is going on here? It's like a knight and he's fighting an evil wizard, but then there's a fucking a land speeder from fucking Star Wars over there. What the hell? Right? Something like that. Like that I think that could be like that would be pretty cool. It is strange to me that this goes with such a generic. You know what? I mean, this also looks like the cover of a very generic, like pulp
heavy metal
paperback.
album.
Oh, that
Oh yeah.
too. From like the time period, right? It doesn't really capture to me what is you or what would have been more unique about Ultima before Final Fantasy kind of comes in and does it more.
I do like that at this point when this was published, we're 4 Ultimas deep at this point.
Mm.
And if you read the back of the box and on the front too, they're like, play the classic game that started it all. 5 years
Mm.
later, I don't know if how much of this is just them trying to sell it that way, but it feels like already, it was considered like, wow, this is the one that did it all.
Mm.
Nowadays, it takes 6 years for the sequel to
Yeah.
something to come out. What a
Right, no, of
different
course.
time.
Of course. See, do you think maybe that's that has to do with the way that they are portraying this cover, right? Like it's supposed to be the classic game, so the cover wants to
Hmm.
evoke a feeling of like, oh, back in the this is what fantasy games, they used to be like this. Now they're all hyper polished and modern, but like the classic fantasy
Maybe.
throwback. I
I
still don't know
think
that it's right, but
I feel like if you looked at D&D books from the time, it still looked like this,
mm.
but I could be wrong. Okay, let's get into the game, huh?
I guess if we have to.
Ultima
Stop talking
1,
about this bronze dragon.
first Age of Darkness. Of course, Ultima 2 is the second Age of Darkness, and so on.
The third age, the fourth. Yeah, I get it.
Yep. I don't even. I guess I know what that title means. And I guess that is. I guess that could be what this story's about. This is I think
There's
the
a
third game, by the way. Both King's Quest and Zork also began as just those titles, and then later editions added a 1 and a
Mhm.
subheading. Is that why was that a trend? It's sort of strange. They thought like people won't understand that this was the first one. Now that there's 5 of them, we gotta give it a 1.
Yeah, you're
Why?
always yeah, I was calling it the PS1, and you were like, "No, no, it's the PSX because it didn't have a 1 because it was the first one."
No, no,
Right?
no.
In the
It's
modern days.
it's still the PS1
See, but
vocally. It's just in written form. It's the PSX.
that doesn't sound right.
That's just
But
the way it is.
the what was I gonna say?
Uh-huh.
I mean, is this something we've moved on from? Like, would you not go back and just add a 1 to something for clarification? I guess you wouldn't print it. I don't
No.
know
I mean, yeah, like maybe as fans referring to it, but not like an official name change.
if they re-released it.
The only time I can think of that happening in recent memory is The Last of Us. I did do a re-release of the first game and call it The Last of Us Part 1.
Hmm.
But I think that's just because the second one was called Part 2 and they decided to
Yeah.
have some synergy with it.
In part 2, they come back and they say, "I bet you thought you'd seen The Last of Us."
Mhm. I have. Okay, at any rate, Ultima is a role-playing game. You play as a guy, you make a character,
Mhm,
you choose their stats as you might expect in a traditional tabletop game. You
mhm,
choose a class and a race, etc. And you go out into the world, and there are towns where you can buy stuff. There are castles with kings who will give you missions, and there are a lot of dungeons. And in the dungeons, it goes into a first person view. And just like wizardry, you will move throughout this sort of pseudo 3D maze and attack monsters. And then there's an overworld map where you move between all of these locations, and eventually you're trying to defeat the evil wizard Mondane. I don't know what the fuck that name is. Um, who has made a gem that makes him immortal. So your ultimate goal is to go back in time and destroy the gem before he comes into power.
mhm. I
So, yeah,
I will say, um, that was odd because I didn't remember seeing that. Here's the problem. There is a manual for this book, and
game.
it is or this book for this game, and it is all like I was
Are you a
doing
big
before.
reader? Yeah, I just finished Ultima. I couldn't put it down.
It's all like, oh, you know, oh, brave knight, thy sword and whatever. It's all written out like this, and um, what I
The
kind of
oldie English.
discovered is not quite that old, but what I kind of discovered
Fuck
after
you.
reading it was that there wasn't like I didn't absorb very much information from it. And on going back to check it, there's so much of just this being like, look at me, I'm talking in this you know, the oldie English, whatever thing, that it's very hard to find the little information that there is in there. So, like, I'll get into some of the issues I had starting this game. Because this is still in the era of games where the game itself couldn't really tell you what to do. They kind of needed to put that in the manual. And say what you will about was Wizardry had a fucking like book or whatever. It did tell you how to play, and I feel like this game did not.
Well, did
Th-
you I just want to make sure you
yeah,
did see yeah, I think you
yeah,
did. There's like the reference card you
yes.
mentioned.
The
That
reference
is
card,
really
yeah.
yeah, I don't think the like quote unquote manual isn't really a manual.
Yeah,
It
it
really
doesn't
is
really
just a
tell you.
lore book.
Yeah, and I remember I didn't really absorb much of the lore, and I didn't get much information out of it either, so I remember being kind of confused. But, this thing you told me about having to go back in time and, get
Which is
him.
also on the back of the box too.
Okay, okay. The first time I encountered this, unless it was in the manual and I just somehow missed it, was I'm wandering around and I'm paying for
Maybe it's on the
drinks
back of the
at
box.
bars.
maybe not. Go ahead.
And I think that sometimes the tavern
Yeah.
keepers will give you like hints,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? The first time I got a hint from a tavern keeper, I was just paying them because I was like, I don't really know why I'm paying for drinks, but maybe it'll help me do something that I don't know how to do, like I don't know, level up, um, or restore health. I think I figured that one out by that point. Um, and so every time that I just pay them like, a gold or whatever, and they're like, "Okay, you got a drink," and I'm like, "Cool." And then finally, I get to one, and I pay him a gold, and he's all like, "Let me tell you about the evil wizard, Mondane, and he's whatever, and he's immortal, and you have to go find a time machine." And I'm like, "What the fuck is all this? What is this?" There hasn't been like any explanatory text about anything anywhere in this game. I don't know where I am or what I'm doing or and now all of a sudden you're being like, "Go, here's a goddamn lore book," and you're telling me to go find a time machine? What is this? A
Yeah.
little crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. It certainly does not. Yeah, there's a few things like that. I mean, there's also the
Mhm.
fact that you go to outer space, and it's like, eventually you just go to a shop and it's like, oh, you could buy like a horse and buggy or a space shuttle. What do
Yeah.
you want?
I mean, I did notice that part reading through the manual where
Right.
they're just like, oh, all the
Oh yeah.
sections, the combat, the thing where you're trying to do, like, there's dungeons with loot in them. You could go, visit the stores to buy wares. If you want to make a hyperspace jump, here's how you would move through space and do that. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, sure. Why not? That's what you want.
Yeah, it's a bit insane the way this game presents itself or doesn't. Okay, so I want to hear from you what your first journey was like with this, because um again, I think we're going to be comparing this a lot to Wizardry,
Hmm.
and also I will tell you now that I, after a point, definitely made liberal use of online guides and maps, but I think even more importantly than that, just general sort of tips. I looked up, like, does anyone have advice for how to play this game well? And that helped me a lot. And, of course, I considered sending some of that to you, but I knew that it would either be
Hmm.
ignored or make you angry. So I didn't. So I'm gonna ask you, as an embracer of the pure
Hmm.
lifestyle in all ways that can be interpreted. How was it? How hard did you find it understanding what you were doing in this game? What was the process?
Uh, so I
And
will
maybe
say,
along the course of the way, you can kind of explain to the folks actually how you play it.
yeah, okay. So the first thing that comes up, you get a screen, and you can either create characters or you can start from a new save. So one thing I did not understand about this game, because nowhere does it make it clear in how to play, um, is that you are playing, and this is a weird thing because you might think this doesn't need explanation, but given Final Fantasy and given Wizardry and given how this is obviously based on D&D and how D&D parties work, you play one character in this game. uh, I was not aware of this. I was just like, or I like my first thought was, oh, I get to make characters and whatever. Okay, so clearly I've got to make a party and there's classes too, right? Like I was told, there's clerics, there's wizards, there's thieves, there's fighters, and I think, okay, that to me. Everything is pointing toward I need multiple fighters and a wizard and like probably two fighters, a wizard, and a thief, maybe, or something like this, right? I don't know, did you have that impression starting?
I did not, but I
Interesting.
I'm not really I'm not sure I can tell you exactly why. I don't know if there was something I read in the reference sheet, or if I had looked something up online at that point, um, or if I don't know, I just didn't think that deep into it. I was just kind of like,
Mm,
this is my guy. I just went
interesting.
with it. I don't
Okay, yeah,
know.
because the first thing I did was go in to make a party of characters. And of course, then when I go to the start a game screen, it's worded. You get there's four character slots. So I'm like, okay, make four characters. There's a party. Perfect, right? Makes perfect sense. It then says select the number of it says like select the number of the character or select number of character you want to use. And my brain just pluralized character. So I was like, oh, I can go in
Four.
with one or two or three or four. Yes, I say four. So the first thing that I do is I enter with my Hobbit wizard because
Excuse me. I don't think there's
I'm sorry,
hobbits in
you're
this
right.
game.
It's a Bobbit wizard. You're
Thank
right. I'm
you.
sorry.
Even
I'm
though even though
sorry. I
wizardry
misspoke.
same year wizardry did just say hobbit.
Yeah.
So
No, these are
I
Bobbits. They're not the
yeah,
same.
these are bobbits. Continue.
Yeah, so that was the first thing I did. Which was fine. Pretty quickly, I was like, if I'm only going to play with one character, I think I want to play with the fighter. I don't think I want to fuck around too
Uh-huh.
much with having to understand the magic system if I like don't know what I'm doing. So I did
Yeah,
restart,
yeah.
but
Did you, by the way, have a save file already in there that was called
yes.
FASD?
Yes, I did, and that was the one I switched over to because I was like, "Oh, it's pre-made character, already pre-made for me, perfect." Um, I did fuck this save file up
Wait.
pretty badly.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know if you if this was obvious or not, but that's because I tested this game out to make sure it ran on my computer, and then I
Mm.
sent you the files, and I didn't realize that was my test character that I made, and
Ah!
that's why it's just called FASD because
Oh,
I just
that's
mashed the
really
keyboard.
funny. Oh, that's really funny. I assumed that was just like the default character. Like this is the sort of thing that they would have.
Yeah, I don't
Did
even
he
know
have
what his
like
stats
any?
were. I
Oh,
don't
that's
know.
funny.
I
That's
literally played
funny.
it for 5 minutes like it was just to test the game out. I didn't
That's
use that
funny.
file after
It's
that.
okay. That is not the main file I was using to play because I
Okay.
fucked it up really bad because I didn't understand how to play. So,
Okay. My experience with this was I don't know why I was like, "Oh, let me play around a little." I think the
mhm,
correct move is what you said is just to make a human fighter probably and just go
mhm,
for it. I was like, I don't know, I made myself an elf cleric.
mhm,
um, and then ended up basically just using swords and stuff and hardly ever using spells. But I did, from what I can tell from reading about the game and playing the game, is that unlike wizardry, it has almost no bearing on anything, that choice. Like
mm,
it's not really that important. It's more your starting stats and some stuff, but
mm,
there's the ways that you get your stats higher and stuff in this game and the types of weapons. There aren't so many that are so specific to a race or a class. It's not a game breaker if you fuck up and pick a different guy or something.
mhm.
So, but okay. So now back to you. Okay, you made a character.
Yes, I made a character. So the first character, it is interesting to me though. Like I'm curious because you said like you're not sure why it didn't occur to you. I am kind of curious from a listener perspective. I guess I don't know that anyone's gonna write in just to say this or whatever, but like I don't know. Is it weird that the guidebook does not offer you like very explicitly say you are a single character or like walk you through the fact that you're a single character? Like if they just say, "Hello, adventurer, you're off to do that." Would you expect in a game like this to be a single character, or would you expect to be a party of characters? Like maybe I don't know. Maybe I was supposed to read between the lines more. Um,
I don't know. I think that I mean certainly if you're coming from a place of most modern RPGs, you
mm,
98% of the time you have a party. So
mhm,
it's yeah, I it makes sense that you would assume that, and also we played Wizardry where you also make a
yeah.
party.
But
I
all the
yeah.
modern RPGs aren't there, right? And you're saying this is same year as Wizardry,
Mhm.
so it's not even like, "Oh, yeah, remember that." I mean, I guess unless it's like January and December or whatever, but it's not like remember that Wizardry game that everybody loved.
Right. Well, this
I
is
don't
more
know.
maybe this is more like of course in D&D you have a party, but also if you're playing D&D,
Yeah.
you're only responsible for creating your own
Right.
character.
Right.
So from that perspective, it kind of makes more sense.
I think it's because they have all the classes and stuff. Like when I see that you can be a thief or a cleric or a wizard or a fighter, my immediate thought is, well, you can't just have a thief, can you? Right? Like clearly you're supposed to balance out a party, right?
I guess it's like
I don't know.
honestly in a lot of games this game in a lot of ways this game reminds me more of something like Skyrim or Oblivion. Because that's
Mm-hmm,
a
mm-hmm.
similar like, you're just one guy, you choose your stats, etc.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Interesting. Well,
No.
anyway, yeah. Anyway, that all happens. So the other very strange and unintuitive thing about this game, which is not explained anywhere as far as I could figure out in any of the supplemental materials in any way, is that you do not the way in which you get health back in this game is I mean you get it back from what, exiting dungeons, and
There's
you can
yeah.
pay kings for it.
Mhm.
You do not rest at a tavern,
Nope.
right? You do not rest at a campsite. You do not passively regenerate it over time. And I'm not sure about this, but I don't know that you have a maximum health.
Yeah. I don't think you do. I don't think you do.
Like when I realized, so like the very first thing I did was just like, oh, there's some overworld enemies. I'll fight them for experience and gold, and then I'll go into town. And I was like, okay, I'm almost dead. I got a bunch of experience and gold, but I'm almost dead. Cool. I'll walk into town, right? And I'll go to the like inn or whatever, or the oh, there is no inn. I guess I'll go to the tavern. No, that didn't work. Well, I've got food. Does the food heal me? No. Huh. Huh. So I almost immediately started off playing the game with almost no health left, and I didn't really know how I was supposed to get more. When I eventually, on a save file that I didn't fuck, like go into a dungeon and fight some stuff and come back out and see that I had like gained health, um, I was like, "Oh, okay." I tried entering and exiting, that didn't work. Okay, I get more health if I kill enemies in the dungeon before I come out. Um, and like so I started being like, "All right, do I can I just spam like go in, kill an enemy and come out and I'll do that till I have maximum health." And at a certain point I was like, "I have like 2.5 times the health I started with. I'm not sure this is going to end."
Yeah, baby. Health. Hit points.
Yeah, I don't it's an odd like, it almost feels like your stats kinda don't matter that much, as long as you can beat enemies, you just go in until you have so much health that who gives a shit.
There are several elements of this game that are very unusual being accustomed to later RPGs, even RPGs from
Mhm.
like 2 years later, right?
The
Like
thing
just these,
Yeah,
yeah, things that we
it
kind of take for granted now. Even in Wizardry,
yeah.
even though I also found the system in that very confusing and strange, you still did go to a tavern to rest, right? Or an inn,
Yeah,
but
well, because, like, this is not a system that, like, anything else has ever fucking used, like, ever, right? You know what used the wizardry system? D&D, right?
right.
If you wanna restore, you make camp for the night or whatever, you go back to town or whatever the hell you're doing. Here, that doesn't work. You don't get health that way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. But once you click into it, it absolutely is the way to play this game. I think is the first thing you should do. Pretty much is head to a dungeon, kill a few guys, leave, so your health goes up. Go back in, kill a few more guys, leave, your health goes up until you have enough money to then go buy some weapons, some armor. Then maybe you go do it again, or maybe you talk to a king to get like a quest, and that's kind of the loop, but it's sort of antithetical to how a modern game plays in that you'd think, well, I shouldn't go to a dungeon right away. I should like
Mhm.
build up my strength. But no, you build up your strength by
Yeah.
going to the dungeon, which is how Wizardry was. I mean, in Wizardry, the
Yeah.
dungeon was the only thing in the game.
It's all fine. It's just that like the first thing that happened with my first character was that I got myself very low thinking, okay, I'll fight up and
Yeah.
then I'll go rest. And then like I just couldn't beat an enemy because my health was so low. So it's like, okay, I don't really know what I'm supposed to do. I guess I'll go back and maybe I'll try to open chests. Maybe there's health potions and I'm dying. And I don't know, once again, is there a way to recover well from dying in this game? Maybe. But like when I died, it seemed like I lost all of my items and all of my gold. Like
Um, yeah, go ahead.
when you start this game, you get some gold. And so the first thing I did was go and buy some better armor and a weapon so I could go off and fight things. And then when I died, I was just like, well, now I have no gold and no armor and no weapons. And I just die to everything, and I don't really know what I should be doing from here, and I just got into this death loop. So I just abandoned that one and
That's a
started
game.
again, and was like, well, this time I'll be very careful about my health. And I did go into a dungeon, explore a little bit, and leave, and was like, oh, that's how you get health back. But the first time I was just like, I have no like, it really is so strange to me that it doesn't tell you fucking anywhere. Like, like, how did you find this out? Did you also stumble over this, or did you see it somewhere before you started playing?
Yeah, no, I also had a similar experience where I was like, how am I going into like I was trying to talk to the guy at the inn, like,
Mhm.
and then I didn't have money, so I was like, oh, maybe you need to pay him. So I would like find some money and then go back, and he's just like, here's a drink, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. How do I get help? Pretty much the same thing as you, and then I like left and realized, oh, health going up. Okay. And then, like I said, at some point I looked online and saw people saying kind of what this, what
Mhm.
the loop was. And it's like, oh, once you have a lot of money, then you can pay the king and so on and so forth. What I did find, and I do think it's obscure and not immediately apparent, but I find death in this game actually far less punishing
Mhm.
than certainly in Wizardry, maybe even less punishing than in Final Fantasy.
Interesting. So my experience with death in this was
Yeah,
that I immediately got caught in a death loop when I didn't know what the hell I was supposed
that's
to
a
be
game.
doing. And it felt very punishing because it felt like I have to start over still not knowing what to do with less than I literally had when I
Mhm.
loaded up the game with no previous anything.
So
Right? And so it felt
yeah.
ridiculous. But I don't know but the thing is, once I figured out what the loop was and how to play, I never died. So it's very
Mm.
hard for me to get a handle. Like to me, death in this game feels absurdly punishing because you just immediately get set back to like you might as well fucking start the entire game over again. Um but then that's the only time I ever experienced it.
So let me, because I died plenty of times.
Okay.
So I'll go over it for you. First of all, one thing which should have been apparent early on, but I didn't actually consciously,
Mhm.
I didn't do it until very late in my play, was you can save at any time in the overworld. So
Mhm.
you can like save right before you go into dungeon, and if you die, just reload, just quit the game and restart, and there's no
Mhm.
consequence for that. So that is one thing you can do. Um, so when you die, and I feel like there's so many interesting and weird aspects of this game that people listening still don't really have a full picture of how it plays, I don't
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, I don't think they do.
We're gonna unravel it piece by piece, but I'll as long as we're on this subject. When you die, here is what you lose. You lose all of your money. You whatever hit points you had were reset to 99. Same with your food. So you lose your any food you had. And by the way, food, this it sort of has a survival element. You just
Mhm.
need food. If you run out of food, you die. Every few steps you take, you lose one food
Yeah.
That's the food system. It's not very complex. It's just like another thing you
Yeah.
need.
You basically just
Um,
need to top off like when you're traveling around in the overworld, you need to have some amount of food and you
yeah,
need to buy that at towns, but towns are everywhere, so you don't need to be like I need to
right.
stockpile so much food. It's like, yeah, I'll find a town before I run out as long as I'm not too low and as long as I stock up every time, but that also costs gold. So yeah, it's not
Mhm.
too bad. It's actually I don't mind that system at all. I think that is actually kind of fun in a way.
Kind of pirates adjacent too.
Kind of, yeah, kind of. And in this game, I felt a lot more like in Pirates, I was not so comfortable trying to like just like I felt like I needed to make port out of a central area. In this game, I kind of felt like, yeah, I'll just wander. I'll just buy stuff at the next place I get to, and that's probably because I wouldn't just be like, well, I'm in Spanish water, so nobody will fucking sell me food here,
Right. Yeah.
so
Everyone
I'm
will sell you
dead.
anything. You can
Yeah.
even kill all the guards in a town, leave, come back in, and they'll be happy to welcome you right away. They won't remember.
Hmm.
So okay, back to death. So you lose all
Yeah.
your money, you lose all your health, you lose all your food, and you lose your weapons. Uh, However, you do, as far as I can tell, you don't lose your armor or your spells.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you also don't lose your experience points. And at a certain point in the game, my I don't want to call it mine because I think it's I'm not saying I invented it, but the
Hmm.
strategy I fell into of, oh, go into the dungeon, kill a few things, come out, go back in until you get some money. It
Hmm.
was pretty easy for me to, within 5 to 10 minutes maybe, I could from scratch get back up to like from 99 health
Hmm.
to 500 to 1,000 health. I'd wait until I had like 1,000 gold. Just keep going back in and out, get more health, get more gold, and then go buy my weapons, which is like there aren't that many. There's basically
Hmm.
one or two weapons that you might really care about in this game. Rebuy it, and it's like okay, I'm back to where I was.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I did.
I
You don't
can.
really
Yeah.
lose much.
I can
Yeah.
see that. I think that I was way too because of how bad the onboarding on this game was. I was very risk averse. I think what you are
It's a
describing
running
sounds
theme.
right. Well, you know what? If the game had if I had died once I got started with the game and I was relatively into it and understood what I was doing, like, I probably would have been all like, okay, how bad is it to recover? Actually, not so bad because I understand the loop. But if I'm dying and getting reset to below zero before I've understood the gameplay loop, what's happened is that I've had drilled into my head, dying is really bad, avoided at all costs. If the manual had explained to me what the basic gameplay loop was, this would not have happened.
I get it. I mean, especially coming from Wizardry, I think, and older games in general, there's an
Coming from literally the
expectation.
idea of an RPG that anyone has ever experienced, any other game ever, anywhere.
All right, calm down. But yeah, yes. I mean, any other game
Yeah, don't
anywhere.
make it out like Wizardry invented these things. D&D did. This game was the one that
Yeah,
did
but we
everything
didn't
different.
play D&D on this show, okay? I'm talking about our recent experience. I've played Wizardry more recently than I've played D&D. And in
Uh,
that game, when you died, it sucked ass and it
mhm.
made me miserable.
Mm.
So
Well, in
I
this
get,
game, it sucked ass too because I only ever did it before I understood the game. The problem
yeah,
is not how bad dying is. The
the
problem is
perception.
that it
It's the
happens.
perception.
Yeah, the problem is that it happens so easily and so badly. Like, the problem is the manual. I'm not going to lie. I do think 100% my biggest problem with this game is that the manual does not tell you how to play.
Yeah, well, here's what the manual tells you, and this is
Mhm.
where we should actually tell people how to play this game an hour in.
Yeah, sure.
Because even if you're watching the video, you see us walking around and doing stuff, but you might not really understand.
Mhm.
It's not as if you have, like you would think in a standard game, A button, B button,
Right.
or
No.
enter key or text like Wizardry where you type in what you want to do. Uh, they assigned a command to each letter of the alphabet on the keyboard.
Mhm.
I think we should maybe just go through them all, or to some extent.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, the controls were understandable. I do think this is a very interesting thing, this control thing. So,
It's
yeah, let's go
it's a
through them here.
wild like it's another one of those aspects of early video games where you're just like, oh, they were just trying shit. No
Yeah.
one knew what the fuck, how a game should be controlled. They didn't.
Yes.
Keyboards were new.
Yeah, you're gonna hear as John goes through these that this is basically a text adventure with graphics over it.
Right. I mean, it is very much, or, like
Mhm.
one of the later, or still early, but later than we've played point and click adventure games where they would have verbs you could choose from, right? It's
Mhm.
basically that. It's choose your verb, only in this case, instead of being on the screen, it's just letters on the keyboard.
Mhm.
So in alphabetical order, A is to attack.
Followed by a direction. If
Right.
you're in a
Right.
directional, yeah.
Right. First, if you're in the map, first you press A and then you push the arrow. Where do you want to attack? To the right,
Mhm.
etc. Depending on where the enemy is. Um, okay, that's I'd say that's probably like, for most of the game, my fingers on the A is kind of the default because I'm probably going to be attacking a lot, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Next up, B is for board.
Mhm.
I love this alphabet, which is, like we said, I guess you can get a horse, you can get a raft, you can get a spaceship at some point.
Mhm.
And so when you are on it, you press B to board it, right?
Mhm.
Simple enough. C is to cast a spell, which they note you will first need to ready with R, but then you will
Right.
be able to cast it.
Right. We'll get to R. Don't worry about that.
D is to drop an item. I never did this. I don't think there's any reason to do this.
Yeah. Why would you not sell it? I don't know.
I don't
Is
know.
yeah. I don't know.
E is to enter. So if to go into a town, a castle, or a dungeon, or there's also landmarks, which are just
Mhm.
signs in the map, you press E to enter. Now,
Yes.
I
And
might say, why have board and enter?
yes.
Couldn't you just have enter?
Right.
But they
That
needed
is
something for every letter.
yes. That is. Well, it is a text adventure thing because this is really where things start to get like you in a more modern sense, it because the way that you would enter is you walk onto the tile, right? Like one of the
Mm,
tiles will just have your little spaceship on it, and you'll walk over that tile and hit B. Uh, and one of the tiles will be a town, and the way you enter it is you walk over that tile and you hit E. And these feel like basically the same thing. Get into the thing that you are currently standing on. Um, but in a text adventure, they're not necessarily quite the same thing. You can't board a town, right? And you can't really board a horse, right?
right. If you told
And
your DM, I'd like to board that town, he would be, that's wrong.
yeah, right. So this is kind of now we don't quite have like board the ship, ride the horse, enter the spaceship, that kind of thing. But like the text adventure uh like that texture is underneath it, this idea that oh of
Mm.
course you would need different letters because you're interacting with different things, even though really what I'm pressing is the interact button.
Right. Yes. And in a modern game, all of these things would be one button pretty much.
Yes,
It would be
next one you're going to get
contextual.
to another example of this.
Yes, F is fire. If you're in a ship, you can fire a weapon and you have
This
to
is
press F,
yeah,
not A.
this is yes, this is different than attack. Now I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, you can attack in your ship. So if you're in your spaceship and there's a pirate ship in front of you, you can fire and that will shoot your lasers at the pirate ship. Or you can attack and that will stab the pirate ship with your dagger. You
Oh, I
can do
never
either.
tried that.
I'm pretty sure you can do either. I might be wrong
Huh.
about this, but I'm pretty sure I pressed A a couple times by mistake and I was still hitting them.
Interesting. Uh, G is to get. So if there's an object, you can get it. This is only applicable in like 3 times that I can think of in the
Yeah.
entire game. It's
Yeah.
very rarely used. H is for hyper jump, of course, when you want to go to light speed.
Right, yes, of course. This is one of the things when you haven't played the game yet and you're just looking at everything.
How did
And it
they
is
go
what
through this alphabet and
yeah.
figure this out?
Even the F, right? Like if you were trying to figure out how to play this game, you would know that you were playing in like knights and whatever. And you would be reading these things, right? And board doesn't say spaceship. It says board a horse, raft, frigate, or other form of transport, if thou art standing upon it.
It is
Fire,
it
yeah, yeah, and fire just says using the guns of your ship. So I'm like, oh, I could like mount cannons, of course, because it's a fantasy setting. No, hyper jump. It's so fucking jarring. I love it.
I just don't understand. Why did they think they needed to use the whole alphabet? Because clearly they were like, we gotta have something for F. Just make it fire since we already have an attack, but this is a fire. Like they didn't need why?
Some
Why
of the
did they
letters
think this
are
was
missing.
necessary? Oh,
Like
are
that's
they? I
the
thought there
thing.
was one
Yeah.
for every letter.
Nope, they're
Oh,
missing.
I
You'll
guess
see they're missing J here.
what the fuck? Okay, so I is inform and search. Again, this really feels like
Mhm.
we're digging for a word that fits what we want this key to do.
I feel like some of it is just that they can't use the same letter for two things. So, like, you can't use S for search because you got to use S for steal. You see, we'll get to that.
Now this basically if you're on a town it'll tell you the name of the town so you know where you are. I guess it also does telling me that you can detect secret doors and dungeons. I'd
Mm.
never tried that so I don't know how that
I
works.
I think I literally forgot this button existed because there were a couple times where I like left and re-entered just to see what the hell the place I was in was called. But I
Yes,
don't know that it mattered.
yes. It I did remember it eventually, but I did spend a lot of time going like, which king is this? But
Mm.
it can be helpful later on if you know where you are. It is also helpful in these space sections of the game. Okay, now here's yeah, we do skip J, you're right. They should have added a jump that was never used.
That would have been funny, or used once for a fucking bird puzzle.
Right. The next letter is K, which of course stands for climb,
Yes.
which is to climb up or down ladders which take you to different floors in dungeons.
Mm.
Could it have been E? Sure could have.
Sure could have. Enter or exit this floor of the dungeon using the ladder. Sure, you sure could do that. But that is not the letter.
N is noise. Turns on or off the sound. I kept my sound on the whole time. Never tried this one out.
Was there sound other than just the little like bump sound effects when you pressed a
No,
button?
yeah,
Okay,
it was
I was
that. And
just
like there
making
was like
sure.
little, yeah, little like bling bloop, bloop. But
Hmm.
it's like computer noises, not
Yeah,
really
not like a
sound.
soundtrack or whatever. Okay, just making sure.
O is to open. So in dungeons you'll find coffins and chests. Oh no, sorry, this is just for
Yeah, I was
coffins.
about to say, now you might think that open would open a chest. No, open does not open chests. It will not do that. It only opens coffins.
You'll understand why later. It'll make perfect sense.
Mm.
Q is to quit, but it doesn't actually quit.
Yeah,
It just saves the game, and then you have to manually close it if you want to quit. So again,
right,
clearly that should have been S, but they had S for
right,
something else.
right.
R is to ready, like we said. So this is basically how you equip yourself with all your things. Equip your weapon, your armor, and you can set a spell so that when you press C, you will do the spell you readied. Right?
Yes, yeah. This is the thing that you didn't like do in Final Fantasy at
And
first.
I'll tell you, there was also a little bit of this game where I also forgot to do it.
Mm. Yeah, I saw that there, and I was like, not gonna forget that one.
Although I will say, like, on at least on like the first couple levels of a dungeon and sometimes in the overworld, your bare hands are fairly
Mhm.
viable as a weapon.
Okay.
But okay, so S is steal. So if you are in a shop, you can go up to somebody and you can press S and you
Mm.
can try to steal from them instead of paying. There's a chance when you do this, the guards will see it and they will all attack you and you have to leave or fight them.
Okay. I
Okay.
only tried this very early on a thing that I never figured out, which we'll get to. But
Mm.
yeah, I never really did this in shops.
Yeah, I did this a handful of times early on before I figured out how easy it was to get money consistently.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, you don't really need to do it. But in the beginning, I would just kind of go in and let me just steal some food. And I think in some towns there is a lower chance of getting caught than others,
Mm.
but I'm not sure.
Sure.
T is transact. Not talk. Could have
No,
been talk.
no. Could have been talk. Well, here's the thing. So transact opens up a buy sell menu, but it also lets you like get quests from kings and stuff. Um so one of the things that confused me about this game, and maybe it's good that this was called transact and not talk, is you know, when when you have a game like Wizardry and it just says you're in the tavern now, right? You're in the castle now. Okay, what do I do in the castle? I guess I get a quest from the king. Cool. I can imagine there are a lot of people standing around. But like because they didn't list them out in the fucking game because there's no way to interact with them. Um when I go into a game like Final Fantasy, there's sprites everywhere. So I just think, oh, I could go up to all of those guys and I could talk to them, right? And they would tell me things, and probably it would all be just worthless NPC dialogue. But like that could be fun, and maybe I do need to do that. So one of the first things I did in this game upon entering the town was try to talk to the guards in the because I was like, oh, there's a bunch of guards in this castle. I guess I'll go talk to them. And it didn't work, and I was like, "Why can't I do what am I supposed to be doing with these guards? Am I supposed to do anything?" Um, Not to mention the fact that there was a princess locked away, and there was a jester dancing around saying, "I've got the key." And I was like, "Oh, am I supposed to talk to the jester? Am I supposed to steal the key from the jester? Am I supposed to get the key from the jester?" Never figured out how to really do this. Um, but the fact that it was called Transact, I think was helpful because then I was able to be like, how do I interact with these guards? Go back to the list. Oh, I don't. There's no talk. Okay, I guess it's just
Oh,
for the king. Okay, sure. So it actually
yeah.
did help me there, although I don't know how much that would have been a preconceived notion had I not been used to modern day games, right?
Right. Where you usually every NPC has some bullshit they say to you.
Right.
By the way, those guards I thought were like women holding babies or something. Doesn't it look like they're holding a little baby? I don't really know what it's supposed to be
Interesting.
on their
Maybe.
chest. Is it a shield or is it just like an emblem?
I
It looks like they have a
guess.
little thing they're holding.
Sure.
I don't know. Yeah, it took me a minute to realize how to talk to kings. I think I
Hmm.
maybe had to like read that somewhere to, even after because I guess I didn't go back to it. It does say in the thing conduct business with merchants or kings.
Mm.
But I don't know. I that left my
Yeah.
mind.
Either I just remembered what that said, or I thought T was for talk because, and I was like, yeah, talk to the king. One way or another, I did not have trouble with it, but
If you do press T in a castle and you're not at the king, it does
Mhm.
say
Oh yeah, that's true
transact with
too.
the king. He's not here.
Oh yeah, you know what? That might have been what it was. I tried to talk to a
Mm,
guard, and it was like, that's not the king.
right. T is the king button, of course. All right, so that's your transactions. You can also, you can buy and sell
Mhm.
with merchants and stuff. U is for unlock.
Right.
That's what you do with a chest. You unlock it. You see?
Wait a second. Did I?
Hmm?
So this jester has the key.
We can talk. We'll get to the jester. I'll tell you all about the jester. Don't worry.
Well, I'll tell you as far as I got with that jester is at one point I tried killing him. I
Ah,
immediately got swarmed by the guards and couldn't figure out how to open the princess's cell before that happened.
hmm.
Perhaps if I had just pressed U at the fucking cell, she would have exited. Perhaps I needed to be strong enough to kill the guards. I don't know. I did this very early on and was like, well, that didn't work. Let's go play the rest of this game instead.
Yeah, you may be onto something with that thought.
Hmm.
Continuing down the list, V is for view change, which only matters in space. It'll change you from a top-down view to a first-person view, which we'll get to space later. X is for exit. If you're inside of a vehicle, you press X to leave. Not B
Hmm.
again, of course,
No,
but X.
no, no. Because
Must
you're
press
not
X.
boarding the world. You exit the spaceship.
I think now the last one is probably my favorite.
Hmm.
Z is for stats.
Yes.
This is how you view your character's level, inventory, and stuff like that. Your
Hmm.
stats.
My stats.
I guess spacebar also makes time pass, I don't know when that's useful.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what to use that for, but
So now this sounds intimidating and weird, and it is
mhm,
weird for sure. Like, uh, at first I think you look at this list and you're like, I need to have this next to me to remember all this? And maybe you should to start. I did
mhm,
find over the course of the game, like I said, mainly A, E to enter, F to fire if I was in my ship.
mhm,
That was like that's pretty much the three things you really
mhm.
need. K to climb if you're in a dungeon.
Yeah, I
You
did a
know,
lot of exiting too, because you can exit out of, like, menus you accidentally got into, T to
oh,
transact.
I never did that really for X other than in my ship. But
Yeah, no, I did use it to be like, "I don't wanna transact with you," or
it
whatever.
does, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, maybe you'll disagree, but and maybe it's just I don't know. I got for whatever reason I got used to it pretty quickly and I actually
Mhm,
found it I hesitate to use the word intuitive because that just feels like too
yeah.
generous, but
It yeah, it
I don't know,
wasn't
it
bad.
was I never was like, "Fuck, what was this?" Like, once I figured it out,
Mhm.
it was kinda second nature.
Yeah, I mean, I will say it's not too bad, right? Like, generally speaking, like, it because they're all associated with words, it's not that hard to just be like, "Yep, time to board the ship," or whatever. The main issue that I would have would just be I would use, like, E to try to go up a ladder or to enter a ship, and that was incorrect, right? Or something. Or I think once or twice I had just been spamming A to attack overworld enemies, and then I walk into a shop and then press A at the shopkeeper. But fortunately, you have to follow that up with a direction. So I was like, oh, not that way. Um, but generally speaking, like for the most part, you learned the ones you needed pretty quick and you used them enough that it wasn't a big deal. Yeah, I
Mhm.
think having this open next to you could be useful just to kind of be like, wait a second, I've never used that command. Maybe I should be trying to use it or something like that. But it really wasn't so bad. And maybe that's just because I've seen these text adventures where they don't tell you whatever as long as it tells you what every command does and all of the commands
Right.
are on one page, it's really not
Right.
that big of a deal.
It's honestly like I don't know, maybe like how much of this is Stockholm syndrome of some kind, but it's sort of satisfying to actually
Mhm,
learn a game. Like,
mhm,
obviously, there's merit to the way modern games all like if you're look, the right trigger is probably your shoot button. Like
mhm,
they've really standardized most of this stuff, but there's something kind of weird and fun about after a couple hours. If someone else sat down at this game, they'd be
mhm,
confused. And I'd be like, well, obviously you press K to get to climb.
mhm.
I
Eh,
kind of enjoyed the
Interesting.
process of it.
Yeah, I don't know that I had that exact feeling, but I did think that there was something to, in a modern game, you really would have like the exit button, the interact button, the attack button, and maybe some of those can overlap because you wouldn't use them in the same context or something like that. Right? And the menu button or something like this, right? Like it would be very, very simplified. And there is something nice about associating having a bunch more commands and having them associated with words. I hesitate to say immersive exactly, but
Hmm.
in a way it kind of is, right? It's like I am not interacting with the shopkeeper. I am conducting a transaction with him or even talking. I am talking with him, not interacting with him, right? I am doing something different when I hop on my horse than I am when I walk into that town, right? Like
Yeah.
that it it feels different. It feels like you're doing a different action because you pressed a different button. Um and I do
Yeah.
kind of appreciate that, right? You're talking about the right trigger being shoot on a controller, and that's very specifically because on a controller it's a trigger, right? Like
Sure.
it would be, well, but I think there's actually some overlap here, right? Like in the way on a controller you would have a tactile sensation, right? Like the shoot button should be the trigger, right? Because I'm pulling the trigger. There's that sensation on a key, like, it shouldn't just be interact, right? And you could translate that over. Maybe on the keyboard, it shouldn't just be enter to interact. It should be T because I'm going to type out the word talk. My fingers know how to use a keyboard and I know how to type the word. Like, I don't know, like maybe there's some overlap between those
Mm.
things, similarity. I don't know.
It's kind of a cheat, right? It
Mhm.
I think it presents the illusion of complexity.
Mm.
Whereas if
Mhm.
it was if they cut out half of these and you just had an interact button,
Yeah.
you might come away being like, "Oh, this game's like too simple." Maybe, or at least maybe in 1986 or 81 or whatever, people would have said, "Oh, this is just kind of basic. There's just one button to press." But when there's a bunch of buttons, then in your head, you feel like you're doing all this intricate stuff. Oh, I'm not just interacting, I'm transacting now. And now I'm firing instead of attacking, even though
Yeah.
really you're just doing the exact same thing.
Right. There's only
It's a
so much they
trick.
can do to get interact or to get immersive on the game, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So yeah,
Yeah.
I suppose that explains it a little,
Yeah, I mean, I
justifies it.
didn't I didn't mind it at all. One of the other benefits of this is that the buttons are, because they're based on letters of words, they're still, well, K for climb, but they're still relatively intuitive, right? Um if for example, it's fucking 40 years later and the keyboard layout has changed, then that wouldn't really mess
Yeah.
with the intuitive, like you wouldn't be all like, why do I press this button and this button? Those are not in places where my hands would be to interact. No, I press the T because I'm going to type talk. Um and as an example of this, the controls. Oh, I don't have, maybe it's on the, yeah, here we go. So you can use the arrow keys to move back and forth and up and down. You could also use a joystick, or you could use keys on the keyboard. And the keys are colon, semicolon, which on my keyboard is the same key. Colon goes left and semicolon goes right. Slash to go
Right.
down, which is down on the lower row, but also completely offset to the right, and at to go up, which is all the way on the other side of the keyboard.
Wait,
Uh,
at mine says shows a bracket.
what?
Are we looking at the same reference card?
Are
my
we?
my up has like a left bracket, like you
What the
would put a
fuck?
left bracket to enclose something.
I mean, I did not independently find this. I took the link you did, and yet my card here has an at on the top.
Maybe are there two different
What the
versions, like for two
fuck?
different systems the game was on this page?
Yeah,
I
maybe
don't know.
we clicked different links to get here or something strange. Anyway, the point being that I'm sure that this layout made sense on the
Ah,
keyboard that
is
came
yours?
with that
Yes.
computer.
You're looking at the Commodore 64
Oh,
one, and the other one on this page is the Apple version. That's the
yes.
difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I did not attempt to use those because that was batshit and made no sense. I used the arrow keys, which did make sense. But yeah, like looking at that, it does become apparent to me. Like, I don't know exactly when the QWERTY keyboard was standardized, much less all of the like
Oh.
weird like non-letter parts of that keyboard layout. And there is a pretty big benefit to not assuming you know how the keyboard is laid out and just being like, listen, you know how to type the word talk on it. I don't know how because I don't know what your keyboard looks like, but you do.
Yeah. They really future proofed it.
Yes. I
Let's
mean,
talk
what they might
about
have had, what,
another.
Dvorak or whatever it's called. Maybe there were just multiple layouts at the time.
I think there probably were, or at least they didn't know
Yeah.
like this will be the one.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know when that was standardized. I want to say it by 1986. It probably was, but I could be wrong. Because we've seen, remember, like the King's Quest keyboard layout, the cover
Mm.
that came with the game that had a
Right.
QWERTY layout,
Right.
and that was 85 or something like that. So yeah, I think it was fairly standard by that point, but it probably depended on what computer you had.
I
Let's talk about
strongly suspect that until the late 90s, there were weird loser. Probably to this day, there are weird loser nerds. who are just like, I think the keyboard should be different.
I don't want to talk about them.
Fair.
I want to fucking talk about the leveling system in this game because it's
I would
something
love to
else.
talk about the leveling system in this game because I'm going to tell you right now, before you
Oh,
even start,
jeez.
I did not figure out how to level up. I don't know
I'm
how to
going to
do
tell
it.
you, I'm going to tell you right now, you
Hmm.
probably did.
My character said level 1 the whole time. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, in that case,
I did
perhaps you
have like
didn't.
two. I did have like 2,000 experience or something.
Okay. So you should be. I don't think maybe there's something you need to do to trigger it. I don't think so, though. I think every 1,000 experience gets you a level.
Maybe, huh? Maybe I did go up a level, and I swear I don't know.
I mean, you are famously stupid, so you could
Yeah, I
have
mean,
just
like,
missed it.
I checked the stat. Maybe, I mean, it's not like it told me I leveled up, so it's not supposed to tell you you leveled up. You just
No, it
do.
does not. It does not
Interesting.
inform you of this. And here's the other. Here's
Okay,
what
so
really.
maybe
Here's
I
what
did.
the thing that's so strange about the leveling system in this game is when you always have a monitor of your experience
Hmm.
points. Every 1,000 points you level up. I think level 10 is the max level. Yes, it is because I had at one point 9999 experience and that was it. You can't go
Okay.
higher than that. And so maybe level, and I think it still said level 10 for me if I recall. Um as you might think from other games that when you level up your stats would increase. That is not the case in this game.
Okay, so you know what I think happened? I think when I was in the hundreds, below 1,000, I kept checking back because I was like, should I have leveled up by now? I didn't. And then at some point, like, I started checking less and less often because I was like, I don't know how to do it. And I just never noticed my stats increase even when I went up to like, where I was leveled up, and I probably just didn't notice the level number went up. Or at
Yeah,
least my
so the
stats went up, but not we'll
mhm.
talk about it.
Yeah, well, so the way you increase your stats in this game is either by doing quests for kings or by finding these landmarks in the world, and
Hmm.
they will sometimes give you stat boosts.
Hmm.
All that experience points do is they make better items available at stores.
Oh,
So
okay.
there's certain like weapons and armor you won't get until you reach a certain level. And that's it. And that's all there. And that's another reason, like, it doesn't feel it's not like when you die, oh, I'm level 1 or something. And
Mhm.
also it doesn't really matter. Like your stats aren't even tied to that. It is very strange. That is
Mhm.
one area that maybe the only area I think wizardry sort of makes more sense in, although having to like go to the inn to level up I still didn't like. I know it was in D&D maybe, but I don't care. It was weird. I didn't like it.
Yeah, I
Um
think I'm not sure, but if I'm remembering correctly, I might have discovered that you can pay kings money to heal you, for
mhm.
points because I saw that you could give kings gold, and I think I might have thought, maybe that's how I level up. I go back to a town and I give a king some gold and he levels me up. Once I have enough experience points. And I was like, no, but he did give me health. I did figure that out somehow just by trying that.
Yeah. I mean, now this and several other things are things I only discovered by reading them online, being like, "What
Mhm.
is the deal?"
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
I can
okay.
already tell you, you definitely got much farther than me, based on the fact that I didn't look anything up. I was just fucking around.
I
But
truly think my enjoyment of this game was increased, if not dependent upon
mm,
my looking at guides. All in a similar way, almost that Final Fantasy was, where there
mm,
was just some items that I just was like, I don't know if this is cursed or not. Just
mm.
tell me if it is. I sort of felt that about this, although that this game has much fewer moving parts than Final Fantasy did and much less
Yeah.
complex.
The difference between this and Final Fantasy for me really did come down to things like, so in Final Fantasy, I've got like three or four different swords that have fucking different names and are all worth about the same amount, and I'm finding them out in the wild, and I don't know what they do or what their stats are or what's better than what. because they're all about the same. And in fact, when I looked at the stats on Final Fantasy, it's like fucking, oh, this one has more attack damage but less attack speed. And I'm like, is that better or worse? Well, I don't know. One of them's just probably better, but I could at least be interested in those calculations if that information were anywhere. Whereas with this game, I kind of just felt like, well, it feels like there are not that many weapons and not that many armors, and they just seem to be like not even in the same. I'm not finding random ones, and they don't seem to be even in the same class in terms of how much they're worth. Like this one's just worth a billion more, so I'll just go until I have enough money to buy that, and then I'll have I'll go out and I'll buy my mace that's worth more than a dagger. Okay, I'll go buy an axe that's worth more than a mace. I'll go buy a greatsword that's worth more than an axe. And each of these is by like double. So, and it just seemed to work fine.
Yeah.
So,
And I kind of appreciated that level of simplicity, to be
mhm,
honest. It was sort of nice to just be like, you know what, early on, great sword seems pretty good, and
mhm,
that's pretty much what I used for most of the game. Occasionally, for a while, I used bow and arrow for a while, which is nice because it's ranged. And late in the game, you also get guns, including a
mhm.
sci-fi blaster.
I did not get guns, but I had a suspicion I might.
You actually, apparently, if you choose thief class, it's possible to steal a gun like first thing in the game and just have a gun right away.
That's really funny.
But yeah, it's pretty much, and every store sells the same stuff, or maybe there's like two different kinds of stores you find that are slightly different, but it's not like, oh, every town I gotta go.
Mhm,
All right, what fucking does this have better numbers than that number? Yeah, it does, I
yeah.
guess. Which I know a lot of people, that's like what people like about
Mm.
RPGs, but it kind of fatigues me sometimes.
Yeah, there's the problem is that that needs to be robust, right? Like you can't just be all like, well, this has better numbers here and better numbers here, but this one's better, but you have to do math to determine which is better. Like for that to be interesting, it kind of needs to be all like, listen, if you build your character like this, distribute points this way, get these skills, have this armor class, then this one's better. If you don't, this one's better. And that can be interesting understanding that system because it allows you to kind of put something together. If if it's not that robust and one of them is just technically a little bit better, but you have to do math to figure it out, that sucks. And if that's the case, but also all that information is hidden and there's no way to find it in the game at all, that really sucks, which was the case in the first Final Fantasy. Like, I feel like you either need to do something as ultra simplistic as this, or you need to do something so wildly complicated that just nobody was doing it at the time. Like none of these
Yeah.
games can support that sort of thing.
Yeah, I also at one point I tried out a staff, I think, because I thought, oh, I'm a cleric. Maybe I'm supposed to be
Mm,
using sort of magic-y weapons. And
mhm,
it just didn't do much damage, it seemed. And so I
mhm.
just went, okay, never mind, sword.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't
I
know.
I looked at the staff and like amulet and stuff, and I was like, I suspect that that's going to buff my ability to cast magic missile, which I'm not doing because I'm a fighter. So I'm just gonna stick with my sword for now.
Yeah, which I also didn't do as a cleric.
Yeah.
Barely ever. That's another big thing with this game. It really is, I think, closer to an action
Hmm.
RPG, closer to sort of a Zelda style game even
Hmm.
than a turn-based RPG in the way that it
Yeah.
feels, at
Oh yeah,
least,
yeah, yeah.
because it's technically this game is turn-based. In fact, it's so turn-based that unless you move on the map, nothing else will move. Everything
Hmm.
is determined by when you move, that's when time passes, so to speak. And that's
Yes.
true
When
in a dungeon as well.
yes, dungeon. We haven't really talked about the difference between
No.
dungeon and overworld, but yes, when you're in the overworld, there are enemies that will appear on the map and wander around and attack you, and those enemies, as you said, they move or attack when you move. If you sit there and do nothing, they sit there and do nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. They also won't go away. If you go into a town
No,
and come out, they're still there.
that I thought was very funny. It's like I'm gonna run away and go into the town, and then I come out. Oh, yep, there he is.
I kind of hated that early on because I just kept getting
Mhm.
killed by them and I was like, fuck you.
When I was in my initial death loop, I was like, "What the fuck is this?" But as soon as I figured out you could grind in dungeons, that is
Mhm.
one thing that I think this game really maybe set a bad standard for. Because if I were going to be like, "What are the connective tissues like if I were to put this as a missing link between wizardry and Final
Final Fantasy.
Fantasy, I would 100% say one of the things this game added in there was the grinding, right? In Wizardry, there's
Mm,
you're really just going down there to like fight random monsters in a dungeon. That's the point. In this one, you're kind of trying to go places and see things, but like sometimes you just need more money or health, so you literally just walk back and forth in a dungeon killing things over and over and over again so that you have enough resources to do it in a way that really didn't make a lot of sense in Wizardry, um, which was kind of fine because this game moves so quickly. Like it doesn't have a whole intro
right.
theme and whatever and blah blah blah. But I don't know. I feel like maybe I could blame it for some bad ththings.
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, there certainly is grinding. Like I said, I think because
Hmm.
as I explained earlier, like I only needed to grind for like a 10-minute period, and then I was back
Hmm.
for the most part. I mean, technically, there was also a point at the very end where I had to. It was like, okay, I know I need a ton of health, so I was just grinding, not to get experience or money, but just to get health points. and
Hmm.
well, and to get money so that I could give it to a king to get more health points. But yes, your point about in general, the entire game is faster. Unlike the biggest or one of the biggest differences between this and Wizardry or Final Fantasy, when you're in combat in a dungeon, it's not like, okay, here's your menu. You're in a
Hmm.
combat instance now. You can attack, or you can run away, or you can use this spell, or you can use this item. No, you see a bat coming towards you. It's in front of you. You press A to attack it. You keep pressing it until it dies, and then you keep moving. There's
Hmm.
no random battles. I mean, they're random in the sense that they're not random. They're not surprises, right? I mean, sometimes if you
Hmm.
turn a corner, but it's not as you would think of the screen flashes and now you're in battle mode.
Yeah.
It really is one continuous thing.
It's random battles, but they're overworld random. Like you can run up and down a hallway over and over again until something appears, and they do just appear randomly. But like
But you'll
you
never
know,
see
you
it literally spawn
no.
out of nothing.
No, it'll be like instead of the like I walk forward and instead of showing the hallway, it shows the hallway with a monster in it, and I can't go that way. And the way that you run in this game would is not you have to
You
press the
run.
run button, see if it works. You go the other way because that guy's blocking that way.
Yeah. Right. And so I kind of liked that. I mean, as
Hmm.
you know, I'm on this show, at least I suppose I now have to just be the turn-based battle hater, which I'm not really. I think turn-based battles can be great, but they can also be draining, and they're the thing in Final Fantasy that made me be like, at a certain, after 15 hours of play, it's like, oh god,
Yeah.
another one of these, I'm almost dead. That never happened in this game because it is more like Zelda. It's just hit, 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 keep going, which I
Hmm.
kind of liked. It was kind of refreshing.
Yeah, yeah. I did not mind these. I thought they were pretty fun. They didn't seem like too much of a big deal. Yeah, they're very different from random encounters, even though they are technically random. They do feel pretty different in everything about how they work. Um, that being said, so like I did lose. I guess it just felt so different because like yeah, I was thinking like, ooh, I can do strategies with spells, and in the same way, I actually thought Final Fantasy had like there were some issues with like, oh, the bosses are too easy. If you even begin to do strategy, you just immediately win. In this game, it's like I don't really understand that there is strategy to combat. Combat is mostly just like there's an enemy, you press attack, maybe you press attack twice, and if you're not like literally starting out, you kind of killed it, and maybe you took some damage, and really all it is that it's slowly draining your resources, so it's kind of a cap on how long you can do things before you have to go back. It's not really like a thing you engage with in and of itself.
Yeah, there's no, oh, the bat is weak to lightning.
No.
That's not a thing.
Right. Or
Not even
like,
close.
yeah, or like I wanna blind these enemies, or I wanna kill that one
Yeah, yeah.
first, or I wanna set up a barrier, or I wanna use my white mage to buff the fighting strength of my whatever. No, 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 no. No, you
They
press
got rid of
A.
all the boring shit, basically. That's
The
how
the
I
problem is
feel.
that the problem with all of that is that I think that stuff is really cool, but only if it's like very complicated. And so far, we haven't really seen a game where it pays off to do it. I don't know that we will
Hmm.
for a long time. Because I'm
Ah,
gonna let you know,
might happen
Pokemon
sooner than
isn't
you think.
really a game where it pays off
Hmm.
to do that. It's for children. It's too easy for any of that bullshit.
Yeah, perhaps, perhaps.
But
I guess, and the other, there's also, so really what you're trying to, once you've got a handle on the grinding stuff and you get your money and your equipment, the end goal of the game is going to these kings.
mhm.
There's 4 continents, which I found really confusing at first because it was
Mhm.
not clear to me where I was going. I wish the game had an in-game map. But it does come with paper maps, but I didn't find them
I
very helpful. I looked
no,
online.
no, they were not.
Um, these kings will give you a quest, no relation, which will either be visit a landmark, which again are just these random places in the world. You find it, you look at it, it gives you stat boost. You go to the king, he gives you another stat boost. Hooray. And then there's the ones that are kill something in a dungeon.
Mhm.
And those are the sort of progression quests. There's 4 of them. Each one, so the first one's like a gelatinous cube. Second one is a carrier or something. Then there's a lich and something else.
Mm.
And if you kill each one, the king in question will give you a gem, which is what you need to
Okay.
operate the time machine.
Okay. Yes, I did not. I did not get the carrion. I got quests for the lich, the gelatinous cube, and finding a place. So that's what
And
I got quests for.
did you do any of them?
No, I did not.
Did you even maybe find the place, but then because sometimes
No.
then I would not remember where the king was.
No, I did find the king again. So what happened was once I settled into understanding the how to play, um, I kind of settled into a pattern of just roaming around the map and looking at everything. Part of the other problem was that I was not entirely sure what that king wanted me to find. He said, find some kind of place.
The Tomb of
And
Lost Souls, perhaps?
yes, I think that's what it was. And if I went back to check what it was, he said, I already gave you a quest, dumbass. He wouldn't tell
And
me.
it doesn't remind you.
Oh, yeah, he didn't tell me what it was. Um, and I do remember, like the whole time I was thinking, like maybe I'm supposed to do a dungeon, but I'm not really sure. There's like completion for these dungeons, and I don't really know. Like walking into a dungeon and out feels weird. So I was thinking it's probably one of those signpost things, which I think you said it was.
Yeah.
But I never found it. I went around the map a lot, but I could not figure out where the hell I never ran into it. Um, I didn't run into a lich or a gelatinous cube either. Presumably they are in dungeons. I don't know if they're in specific dungeons, or if they're just too deep. I probably could have been more aggressive searching them. But my gameplay loop effectively it eventually devolved into me feeling like I was really over leveled, where I was like, yeah, I'm just running around here in my air car, zipping around the landscape. I'll buy food occasionally. I'll go into a dungeon and kill some stuff. I never found the thing I was supposed to find or ran into the enemies. And most of the time I was just lost. And at a certain point, I was just like, well, I have I have directions on what to do, sort of, but absolutely no idea how to progress them other than to continue wandering indefinitely. I don't know if I like at any moment I could complete these quests or maybe I just need to go for 30 more hours. I also found myself continuously getting lost and unable to figure out where I was, and eventually I
Yeah.
just kind of stopped playing. But that was where I kind of ended my gameplay loop.
So yes, these enemies are on specific floors.
Okay.
I think all the dungeons are the same except that the
Okay.
layout is different.
Okay.
And,
I
and
was
I don't
not
think
certain because I did find things like I got the thing for the lich, and then it feels like it wasn't that far away. I found some kind of like the I don't even remember what it was called, but it was called like the Undead Haven or something. And I was like, I bet
yeah,
there's a
yeah.
lich in here. Didn't find a lich, but
Yeah, so cubes are on like level 3 and 4, liches are
mm,
on like levels 6 and 7 or 7 and
mm,
8.
I
Yeah,
probably didn't
it's
go deep
that.
enough. I
Which
mean,
is
part of the
where
yeah.
the most useful spell in the entire game in my opinion are the
Hmm.
ladder up and ladder down spells.
Yeah.
because once I had I basically had the lich and the final thing, which is on the like the bottom floor, and
Mm,
just went straight down with spammed ladders,
yeah.
found them, killed them, went straight back up.
I did not really start using those spells much, and I think I was not aggressive enough in dungeons. Another part of the reason, besides not wanting to just die, was also that, like, I guess I wasn't thinking too much about spamming ladders, because early on when I was dungeon crawling, what I found was, God, it's the same thing as wizardry. You go into these dungeons and it's like the fucking maze that you're in a you're a screensaver thing. You know what I'm talking about.
Uh-huh.
Uh, and it's very weird. It's very weird to figure out where you are. I often found that like if I walked up to a door and turned left, it was like no, you walked past it, and I found it very difficult to figure out where I was. And I was like, I do not want to make a map for each of these dungeons. Oh my god, there's like 50 of them. Oh my god, I'm gonna get lost, and then I'm just gonna die in this dungeon. Um, so probably, yeah, I probably would have gotten those had I, like, eventually come back and just been like, "I'm just gonna spam ladders and see how deep I can go," or something like that, but, I did not actually run into those enemies, probably because I didn't get in there. I
I
really
found
wanted to
them.
find the place where the stupid guy was,
What guy?
where the king wanted me to find, the
Oh, yeah,
Tomb
yeah.
of Lost Souls.
Yeah, it is just a sign.
I've
But,
yeah, I found a bunch of signs.
I I found the mazes much more easily navigable. Is that a word?
Mm,
Navigable?
sure.
Than wizardry. Something about just the way they're presented, like the field of
Mm,
view or something. I felt like, I mean, I didn't really delve beyond without ladders, like maybe level 3 or 4 on my own,
mhm,
but I still felt like confident. I'll be able to like go through enough hallways and figure out my way back eventually and survive if I do it smart enough and not like wait till my health is almost gone or something. Whereas in wizardry, I felt like it's just fucking hopeless. These are so huge and ridiculous. I'll never
mm.
find my way out.
Yeah, like I said, I was not aggressive enough with them, but I was just like,
I
yeah, I
certainly
don't know,
made no
man. It's
maps.
so
That's for fucking sure.
yeah, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to get
You
lost.
don't
I
have
didn't.
to.
So anyway, yeah, yeah. I just wish I could have found the thing. One thing you likened this to Zelda, um, in the way that you're like roaming the overworld and you're hitting A and
Like?
blah blah blah. And yeah, kind of and this is one thing that I gave Zelda some credit for, but maybe I didn't give it enough credit for given the time period. Um when I am on a different part of the map in Zelda, it I can kind of get a sense of where I am just by looking at my screen. Like if I'm up to the north and a little bit east, it's all very mountainous, right? And then I come down from there and there's some woods. I come in, it's a little clearer, there's lakes. I go more south and west and oh, it's woods, but they're different color woods. Oh, here's the beachy
Mm,
shoreline. Oh, here's the cemetery, right?
the
They have
biomes, sort
right,
of.
the biomes exactly. And in this game I think I would have had a much easier time because, like, the only real way to know where you are is to either already know the full map layout or to just start looking at the name of every town you've ever been to and wandering randomly and being like, "Have I been here before? Have I not been here before?" It felt like the map was very expansive and very samey. Um,
Yeah.
and I
I think,
didn't really like even just different like, when there's mountain ranges, just having the sprite for the mountains be a different color in this part of the
yeah.
world than this part of the world. Because then it would have been a lot easier to be all like, well, I know I've been roaming around in this area forever, so that sign I'm looking for, it's probably not here. I'm gonna go, ooh, this is a new color. Haven't spent a lot of time in this color, as opposed to just, have I looked at this area before for that sign? Maybe. Am I running in circles? Maybe. You know.
Fully agree. I think that I just wish each continent should have just been a different color.
Hmm.
Because another thing, when you're traveling the map, it does loop around Pac-Man
Yeah,
style.
I
S-
figured that out, mostly
Well,
by
here's the
just being like I
problem.
kept going fucking east to see if I would run out, and then I was like, "Wait a
Right.
second." That's
Like, so
fucking Lord British.
yeah, I figured that out, but I didn't figure out when I looked up maps online. There's
Hmm.
4 different maps, and same with the ones that come with the
Yeah.
game. And I was like, wait a minute, there's 4 different. How do I get to the other places? Because they all look so similar, I didn't realize that I was going to different. I thought I was just looping around one continent
Mm.
again and again because it just all, every town looks the same, every castle looks the same. I wasn't necessarily remembering this king I talked to or didn't.
Mm.
So that was confusing, and I really had to work with online maps to
Yeah.
eventually be like, okay, this castle I want to go to is like on a peninsula, and if I go in this
Mhm.
spot and go down, I'll find it.
Yes, so interesting. I didn't start looking at the provide. So what's the provided maps do are not sprite, right?
They're
Like
bad.
they're drawn like real fantasy maps, but like I mean not even like real maps. They're drawn like fantasy maps. Um so they don't really resemble what's in the game exactly, and they're labeled in like runes, so you can't really read what any of the locations are. But interestingly, the first time I flipped to those maps, um, immediately I was like, "Well, I'm looking at this first map, and whatever the hell place I'm at, definitely not on here." And somewhere on like the second or third map, I was like, "That is the exact shape of the mountains and forest around a town. That's where I am for sure." But uh, so somehow I've gotten here. So clearly these all must be different continents that exist on this map. But like where are they in relation to each other? I assume I probably started on the first one. Maybe? I think one thing that could have really helped would have been to have some sense of where these things were in relation to each other, and also to just fucking label the town names on the map, or at least the big ones, right? You don't have to tell me where the dungeons are or the special thing, but just like 1 or 2 town names per thing, so I can be like, that's where Lord British is, that's where I started the game, or something, you know?
Yeah, I mean, this is why I used online maps to do a
Yeah.
lot of stuff. Uh, I think this is a limitation of the technology. I don't think they consciously. At least this is my feeling,
Hmm.
is that they didn't. This isn't part of the gameplay of, oh, you have to really figure it out. I think what they should have done, and maybe would have done if they had thought of it or had the memory for it, was just put the name of the continent in the corner when I get there.
Yeah.
Just have a fucking map in the game like Final Fantasy that shows me my position. I don't think that
In
would hurt
Yeah.
anything.
So the interesting thing is I was actually taking the opposite thing. My primary issue with navigation in this game is the same as my issue with getting started and understanding what the hell I'm even supposed to do, which is that I think the manual is bad. I think that I am pretty used to at this point saying, I don't expect the game to actually tell me anything because everything's so bare bones and simple. Of course, the game doesn't tell me anything. That's why you gave me a manual. Why did you give me a manual with all these pages that don't help me? Right? You gave me 4 fucking maps in the manual and none of them helped me find my way. Why didn't you give me maps that helped me find my way?
Yeah.
Now I do think that because of the way that these things are programmed, you almost certainly can just like, fuck around with a couple of bits and just change the color palette. Like if you wanted to do that thing where you said like, yes, this continent is a different color, they they could have done that without increasing the size of the game, I
Yeah.
think. Like, you
And
wouldn't need different
this was
sprites.
a remake. Like they had the opportunity to
True.
do that. I don't yeah, why
True.
I
Yeah,
don't
because I
know.
was gonna say that one though feels like it's not clear to me that that's obvious, right? Like once you start doing it, you start being like, oh yeah, of course you should do that. But it's not clear to me that's like I can't hold it against them for not being as forward thinking as Zelda was, right?
Perhaps.
Um,
Yeah.
but I can hold it against them that their maps in the fucking manual didn't help me. They gave me they gave like it really they gave me like 50 pages of stuff that could have told me all this, didn't.
Yeah, maybe maybe they shouldn't have uh I don't remember what I was going to say.
Get off your
I lost
stupid
it.
LARPing as fucking Lord British. Oh,
Yeah.
hello, thy traveler's sword and da, da, da. Stop fucking writing that. and just be helpful.
Okay, this episode's going to be long as fuck. I
It
don't know
is.
why. I did
It
not
really
expect
is.
this.
I did not either.
But so you did get the air car, and this is a vehicle that you get. You get a boat, then I skipped horse. I did get a raft at first before I realized how transportation worked exactly. I didn't really understand.
Yeah, I skipped a horse. I got a raft. I skipped the frigate and got an air car.
Yeah, but once you get an air car, you can pretty much go anywhere easily, and you can kill enemies. I found that thing basically makes the game 10 times easier because you can kill overworld enemies from a distance. You're much less likely to lose health. You will get way more money. And the way you can really, this is a game that you can really abuse certain mechanics. These signposts that we've been talking about, each time you look at one, there's some flavor text, and they'll be like, and you got +3 charisma or +3 wisdom or whatever stat. And you can't use the same one twice in a row, but you can go from one to another one and then back to that first one as many times as you want.
I did not know that.
You didn't ever, because I did that just in the course of exploring, just being like, is this the same sign I looked at? I don't remember. And I ended up finding so many of the same signs just by accident and doing that.
Interesting, because oh, you know what? Maybe I did see the same one twice, because I was thinking like either I saw it again and was like, I've already been to that one and moved on, or I saw it again and was like, don't remember that one. Oh, cool. I guess I haven't been here. It gave me a bonus. Maybe I would, because I think one of them did give me the same message, and I thought it was weird that two of them had the same message. Yeah, I think I did that. Yeah.
So basically,
That's funny.
Once you hit a high enough level for air cars to be for sale, I'm not sure when that happens or if it's right away. Once you have air car available, all you need to do in this game is grind to get a bunch of money, go buy the air car, fly around the world safely, hit every sign, talk to some kings along the way and hit the signs and talk to the kings. They'll give you strength bonuses as a reward. And like, it's so easy using that method to basically max out all your stats that matter. And if you want to, you don't need to. I didn't max them all. I did max out stamina, I think, because for whatever reason, I just found that one so many times. But
and fucking don't charisma and intelligence change your shop costs?
Yes, they make things cheaper, and they make your things sell for more.
And when you die, your stats don't change, right? You keep your
Correct.
stats.
You keep all your stats.
So so if you max those out, then grinding's even easier because all the weapons cost like fucking nothing. Okay.
So this game very much, because it doesn't give you that much up front, feels like one of these weird hard games. But if you know what you're doing, you can game it so hard.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't even feel like that weird and hard to me. It felt like when I started, I just had no fucking clue how to do anything without ruining everything and immediately dying. And the instant I figured out how to do anything, like I said, I just never died again. And I was just like, when I got to that final thing where I was wandering the world, I did kind of feel like I have too much health to ever die. I have too much money to ever run out of food. I have an air car so I can go wherever the fuck I want. I can basically do anything and go anywhere, and it didn't take me that long to do it, even with no help. I just don't know where the hell to go.
Yeah. Just wander.
Yeah, I could see it. And you know what? It wasn't that I could see. It's interesting because it does feel like it might have ruined the game to look things up about it for me, because then it would just be like, so the game's just easy, you just go here and go here and go here. And there's just no gameplay to it, because it felt to me like there wasn't much in the way of gameplay or difficulty. It was just, you either know how to play it or you don't. And then once you know how to play it, you roam around. Maybe that's why the manual doesn't fucking tell you anything, because they didn't make a game to play.
I found that there was enough that I discovered organically on my own that by the time I looked at things, it was more like, look, I know that I could find this sign eventually, But
Mm,
I'm tired at this point. Like, which continent is it in? I'm just gonna look
mhm,
because I don't feel like going to every fucking castle on the map and talking to every king until I find the right king. I don't
mhm.
care about that at this
Yeah,
point. And I quite enjoy. Like I said,
yeah.
the guides enhanced my enjoyment of this game.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of what it is for me though, is that like I also didn't feel like doing it, which is why I didn't. But there was some possibility that I could have started cross-referencing towns with areas on the map and found a very quick way to navigate intuitively without having to go to every single town. And that didn't, and I don't think that that way exists. But if I looked it up, I wouldn't have been able to stumble on it if it did. And if it doesn't, then all right, whatever. I guess I'm done.
Now, am I to understand then that you did not go to outer space?
I did not go to outer space, no.
This I am a little disappointed, but I wish
Yeah.
did you have the option to buy a shuttle yet?
I did have the option to buy a shuttle, and but I guess at some point I was just like, like, what am I doing going to outer space? I assume I have to get these king's quests to go to outer space. I guess, can you just go buy the shuttle and just
Yep.
go?
Yep.
Okay, I think
100%.
I think I was still stuck behind the regular progression systems of games because I was running under the assumption there was no point in getting that shuttle until I at least beat one king.
Yeah, I do wish you had just experienced
That's
what
too
this was
bad.
like because
I
it
did
is
know
just
you'd be disappointed in that, but I also
yeah.
was. It's
I
with all of
mean,
these things. I didn't know, is that literally the end of the game? I don't get to go there until that, or is that, did I
I
only just
it's
start?
it's really it's kind of whenever you want. It's like probably you won't do it till towards the end of the game, but
Mhm,
there's a lot of the stuff once I started looking at guides was like, oh, I did they were like, go here and then do this. And I was like, oh, but I already did like three things from your other part of the guide first and didn't do
mhm,
that yet. Like there is a lot of openness in terms of what you can do.
mhm.
Um the outer space is wild. Now, I do
Yeah,
think
tell me about it. I'm very interested.
there is a point I believe where maybe there's like a princess or somebody tells you, "Oh, you should go to outer space."
Mhm,
So there is a point where they'll kind of nudge you in that direction. But basically you buy a shuttle, a fucking just looks like a NASA space shuttle appears on the
yep,
map.
that's what I figured.
You go inside and it counts down from 10 and you blast off.
That's funny.
And now you have an overhead view of your ship. You move around a little. There's a space dock because your shuttle is not really a space. It's not what you want for what you need to do up in space. So the first thing you need to do is dock where there are two other ships parked. And immediately this is a bit of a barrier because you need to be pixel precise to dock in this thing and going at the exact right speed or you will just crash and bounce off of it and start flying around the screen.
Oh, hell yeah.
And the way you control this ship is like, up is thrust in the direction your ship is facing, and then down
Right.
is to go backwards and you brake, and then left and right are to just turn 90 degrees. And so you really have to like
Yeah.
figure that out. It's not just the same way as moving around the overworld.
Yeah. It's
Um,
like we just threw asteroids in here too.
yes. And so then you have a choice of two ships. One of them is basically an X-wing, and that one has better firepower or something, and the other one has more fuel. And if you press I when you're in space, it brings up a map of the space zone, and it shows you where there are areas with enemies and where there are docks. And when you're in first person view, so you're in third person, but you press the V button, of course, to go into first person, and then you can jump to hyperspace by pressing H. And depending on which direction your ship is facing in third person, that's which direction you'll move on the map when you do a hyperspace jump. Okay, are you with me so far?
Sure. Yes. 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 Yes.
And once you get to a spot with enemies, the game literally becomes TIE Fighter. There are straight up fucking TIE
What
fighters
the
on the
fuck?
screen. You have a cursor and you shoot lasers at
What
them.
the fuck?
And now this, I don't know where you're supposed to say, I'm not sure where they tell you this. I read it in a guide. You need to
Mhm.
shoot down 20 spaceships in space to be considered. The game will tell you you're now a space ace. And then you can find the planet again, land, and then the princess will help you and tell you where the time machine is. If you try to do it before then, she'll be like, I only help space aces or something.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense. If she says I only help space aces, I know what an
I
ace
think.
pilot is.
I think she says that, but I don't know if she tells you it's 20. Like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
sure. But I know what an ace pilot
Maybe she
is, right?
does.
An ace pilot has a very high kill count. So
Right.
you go out there and you just say, "Is that enough?"
And it does on your stats tell you how many you've killed, which is nice.
Yes.
But now the other part of this is every time you jump and move, you use up fuel.
Mhm.
So you also have to make sure you bring enough money with you,
Mhm.
because if you are low on fuel, you will need to find another dock in space, dock with it so you can refuel and
Mhm.
or change ships,
Yeah.
and
So it's
that
just
costs
food.
500 gold each time.
Okay.
And so you really need to bring, I brought like 1500 gold with me just in case I needed to do
Yeah.
this, and then you need to like plot your route and all this stuff. It's like a
Okay.
whole other
Okay.
game.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
insane.
Okay. So I missed like half the game basically by not doing this.
Even though it's like,
Mhm.
you know, you could do it in like 10, 15 minutes, really.
Mhm.
But it's just this, it's just very funny and strange that this sci-fi element is packed into this fantasy realm. Apparently, none
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
other Ultimate games have this. This is the only one that does this, which I actually think is kind of a
Really?
shame because I think that sort of gives
That's
it a unique
yeah.
feel.
That's
Yeah.
horrible because I was gonna say I honestly I love this. I think this is great, and when I'm thinking about the things that Final Fantasy is taking from this, right? The bad thing is stuff like grinding. The kind of cool, but like somebody was gonna do it eventually. Thing is the like way you travel across the overworld in between dungeons. Like you got to have dungeons because Wizardry has dungeons, and Dungeons and Dragons has dungeons, and then there's an overworld. Somebody had to do it. And then the not so intuitive thing that Final Fantasy takes from this is we're also just going to like put weird technology shit in there
Yeah, 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 yeah.
sometimes. Time weird there's time travel. There's outer space or whatever. You're on a different planet or whatever, and but also it's fantasy. There's guns, and yeah, so that's really sad to not have it because I really think that that is such a cool little thing. There's not very much that blends fantasy and sci-fi so directly, like hard fantasy and right. It's, like you see fantasy and sci-fi, um, but I feel like you very rarely see like knights and princesses and dragons and adventurer go on a quest, and then also there's just space battles, right? Like
Also, it's literally
usually,
Star Wars.
yeah, usually there's a little bit more integration of the tropes in there. Like, oh, you got to explain how the king was, this is actually a colony, and, the dragons are a species on this planet. It's an exoplanet, and we were founded, like, no, 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 no. No, no, no.
I mean, it is a fantasy planet, I suppose,
Yeah,
but
sure. Of course.
as in like not a real planet is what
Yeah.
I'm trying to say.
Right, right, right.
Um, Maybe it is. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, this was really what made me go, once I read the time travel thing and the space thing, I was like, wow, Final Fantasy 1 really did
Yeah. Yeah.
eat this game's lunch. Like,
Yeah.
and even getting the air car and flying around the map, I was like, oh, they really just
Hmm.
they just took this game. I mean,
Hmm.
they just made it with a party and fleshed out the story and more characters and a more complex battle system. But
Hmm.
so much of that game is Ultima,
Yeah.
which I didn't really expect.
Yeah, yeah, I was pretty surprised by that as well, yeah.
So and then finally, you do need to kill a jester, take the key, free the princess, and she then tells you where the time machine is. Um,
Okay.
this is pretty annoying because half the time the jester will give you the wrong key. There's two cells,
That's
and
funny.
sometimes it's just for the other cell, and it's
That's
literally just
funny.
random, and you just have to leave, come back, and try again until he gives you the right one.
That's funny, yeah. Well, the
And
only
keep
time I tried it was before I had even started the game when I was just like, "Well, I'm in this castle. Let's see what I can do."
Yeah. And so then the time machine takes you, you do a final battle with Mondane. There's you have to have a bunch of HP because you have to destroy this gem and it just takes away a
Mm,
bunch of life points. But other than that, it's not a first person.
mhm.
You follow him around a little map and just shoot at him until he dies, basically. Pretty
Sure.
straightforward. So
Well, I am tempted to go back and play a little more just to see space, since
I
apparently
yeah.
I can just go do that.
Yeah, all you gotta do is get enough money for a shuttle and like you can just
Yeah,
go check it out.
I can probably afford a shuttle right now.
Yeah, it's not that hard. I think we should just jump to our final thoughts unless you have something you need to get to before then.
Yeah, not really. I do have other thoughts, but they don't need to be they don't really need to be here. They're
Sure.
they're more fill time padding thoughts that we don't need. Um yeah, let's see here. So IGN ratings.
Yeah. Yep, yep, yep.
um yeah, so okay, some of the negatives, I do think that the actual like progression system and gameplay system is odd in the sense that it's odd and frustrating in the sense that it feels somewhat non-existent. Um, right? Like I'm frustrated not understanding what to do because it's not explained to me anywhere, and then once I do understand what to do, it's literally just loop this until everything works out, and it doesn't seem particularly interesting in that way or engaging. Um on the other hand, uh, I really like wandering around I really like wandering around the overworld. Yes, it's not well distinguished, but it is fun to wander around. Um, I didn't feel like it was too punishing to wander around the way I often did in Pirates because it's pretty easy to pick stuff up. It's fun to have vehicles. It's fun to have an air car and a raft. Um, all the little enemies that come at you, I like them a lot. I like the dragon turtles
Oh,
that shoot at you and the bears that attack you.
we
When you're
also didn't
in the
talk about the
dungeons,
yeah.
yeah,
Go
the
ahead.
like ASCII art type,
Yeah.
effectively skeletons and
The
whatever.
skeletons are the best.
Yeah, they're all really fun. They look cool. I enjoy them a lot. Um, it is a fun world to wander around in. Not an amazing world, not as cool or well built as Zelda or Final Fantasy, but given that this is what 81 when it first given that this is concurrent with wizardry, it feels pretty impressive the degree to which it's fun to roam around. I love the mixing of space and even without going to space, just the fact that I can buy a space shuttle, I can buy a vacuum suit, right? I can buy a hover car. I think all of these things are a lot of fun, and I did generally find the experience enjoyable. I could see a world in which I had just kept coming back to this thing and wandering around the map until I figured out where everything was, just because it's pretty easy and low effort to be like, "Yeah, let's just wander around a little bit more. Maybe I'll find something this time." Nope. Um yeah, so I would say I'm generally pretty positive on it. So let's see here. I'm torn on how I feel. I feel like in many ways the most direct comparison is still to Sid Meier's Pirates. Just because it's more bare bones, it doesn't quite have the little guys and characters that Final Fantasy did. Um, and I'm very torn because exploring the world in many ways was more fun, but the actual like feeling of doing things felt like it was less there. But you know what? I really liked Final Fantasy. I really like that this is setting the precedent for that. So I think I'll give it a little bit of an even higher score than that. And I think I'm going to give I think I will give what's it called? Ultima a 7.5 out of 10.
Wow. That's a very high score, honestly.
Yeah.
Um, so going into this, the thing that we kept thinking about, or I certainly did, and we've compared it to on the show, is wizardry, right?
Hmm.
So immediately, I had so much goodwill towards this game simply because it is so much more approachable and entertaining than wizardry was in my
Hmm.
mind. I mean, that game was like a complete disaster for me in almost every way. And right off the bat, I actually have a guy. There's an actual overworld. The dungeons are actually kind of fun to explore and don't just feel like I don't know what I'm doing and I'm going to die and this is punishing and annoying and hellish. Um, right away, just every aspect of this directly compared to that game is an upgrade straight up. There are no
Hmm.
downsides compared to that. And then, of course, Final Fantasy is the other big RPG that we've played. And I think this is kind of a classic example of Final Fantasy having higher highs. Does it? For me, I think it might have lower lows, to be honest
Hmm.
with you.
I can imagine that.
Yeah, because I did just find the excessive grinding and random battles in that game frustrating. Whereas in this game, it's less ambitious and less
Hmm.
complex. But like when I need to get from one point to another, I just fucking go in my ship and I
Hmm.
don't need to worry about, oh, fuck, I got poisoned. Fuck, I got to walk all the way
Hmm.
back to a fucking town. Jesus Christ, I don't have any money. Fuck.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
feeling, other than like the early parts of the game where I was a little more confused, I didn't really have that feeling.
Hmm.
But I can't like give this game a, I don't think so. I only gave Final Fantasy a 7. And I
Hmm.
feel like I can't give this game a higher score than Final Fantasy.
Hmm.
It just feels kind of wrong to me. But I did really enjoy my time with it, maybe even more than I was expecting. When we're looking at games like this, it really is. You just don't know. Is this going to be another wizardry where it's just aged so poorly that I hate it? And play the feeling that I got playing this was like this feels like an awesome web browser game.
Hmm.
If I was in middle and right down to the way the little sprites of the guys look in the shops, or like a Windows 3.1 freeware kind of game, if I had been playing this when I was 10 years old on a computer in computer lab in school or something, I would have thought this was so cool. Or if this was sort of adjacent to RuneScape or something in the older days.
Hmm.
Um it has that feel to it where it's like, yes, it's very simple, but for what it is surprisingly fun. Like you said, just being able to fly around the world and do stuff, it's kind of neat. There's a good variety of the enemies. The quests are there. It feels like maybe more than the sum of its parts when you add everything all up. And this outer
Hmm.
space stuff is so weird that I like that. So, Hmm. Hum, hum. I don't know. Maybe I should give it a higher score than Final Fantasy. Because I do, and I did finish the game. Like I said, if that wasn't obvious, like I did at a certain point, I did have a drive to keep playing where I
Hmm.
think you could, like, the outer space stuff is cool to experience, but you could play this for like just a couple hours and bounce off it and still pretty much have an idea of what it is. But I was like, no, I want to see the end. I feel like I can reach it. I want to get these gems. I'm close. I can taste it. I
Hmm.
cared enough to want to do that. And my overall game time was, I think, maybe in the range of like five ish, six ish hours. So
Hmm.
not that crazy. And certainly by modern RPG standards, quite brief. I don't know. Fuck it. 7 point. Mm, mm, how about just a 7?
Tie. Yeah, they'll tie. Higher
Yeah.
highs, lower lows, all cancels out in the end.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll give it a 7, which is again, lower than you,
Hmm.
but also like now I'm thinking back and I'm sort of thinking, I don't know, but do I maybe like this? My overall time maybe was more fun with this than Pirates, but maybe I just feel sort of more satisfied because I had an ending to it. Whereas Pirates, I think I felt like there's promise here, but I'm just not good enough or dedicated enough to find the real potential of it.
Yeah.
Did I
Yeah.
overrate Pirates maybe, which I gave a 7.5? I'm not sure
I
now.
yeah, I don't know. Hard to know. Sometimes it's hard to know these things. I mean, I'll just say, um, this might be true for both of us, but I do believe that Wizardry is my lowest rated game of all time. And so
Mine
just
too.
yeah, so coming into this game, assuming it was basically going to be Wizardry, but with some graphics, so maybe a little bit better, and then and then immediately being turned off by being like, I don't have any fucking clue what I'm doing, and it seems like a disaster. Um, you know, like the game, it made up for it at the end of the day, and honestly, it made up for it almost exclusively just by the fun of roaming around. Right, just being able to walk around and go places and be like, "Wee, here I am." Um, you know what? Like that, it did it. It made up for it. Um, this is the direction that these games needed to go in, right? If you're asking where did D&D need to go, what's the most important part of D&D to put into a video game? It's not the math, okay? The computer does the math for you, right? That's the whole point of doing it on a computer. The part of D&D that you need is the walking around. That's what the computer should be letting you do, is walking around. And this game had it. It did it.
Yeah. Yeah. This game did it.
And that's
So
and you know what? I give it some credit also cuz Final Fantasy almost certainly wouldn't have done it if this game didn't.
definitely not.
So, visionary.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, truly. And I mean, Gary Gygax, whatever.
Yeah, fuck
But
that guy.
yeah, it did
Yikes.
make me, I do want to play more Ultima games now for sure. I don't know how many of them we need to cover on the show
Hmm,
still, but I was like, I'm interested in this series now and I'd like to
interesting.
see how it develops.
Not gonna lie, I was pretty interested in potentially playing more. But when you said this is the only one that had the sci-fi crossover, I am now kind of feeling like I don't give a shit if we play anymore of them.
You got to see the
We'll see.
Avatar.
I mean, I'll see it. If you show it to me, I'll see it. And maybe I'll change my mind. But like so much excitement gone when I'm like, wait, what do you mean? There's not laser guns in space alongside a fucking king?
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, Ultima. Uh,
Ultimo.
let's quickly dip into classic review corner for a minute.
Yeah.
I just have one review here that I wanted to talk about from Softline, a publication called Softline,
Okay.
which is a review from back in the day. This is the segment where we look at reviews from the time period it came out. This one is from, in fact, 1981. So this was right when the game was released.
Hmm.
And there's some interesting quotes in here to paint a picture for us of how people felt about this game at the time. I really like so this is how they sort of try to explain how the game feels. They wrote this passage here. An Ultima
Hmm.
scenario might unfold as follows. Having just finished rolling your character, you find yourself in the middle of an open plain. Armed only with a dagger, you decide to search for a city where you can do some trading for a better weapon. While in the city, you also hope to quaff a couple of flagons of ale. You venture northward, and before you realize what's happening, a gang of wandering hoods jumps out of nowhere and madly attacks you with axes. Knowing that you are far more skilled a fighter than they, you decide to stay and fight rather than to flee. You manage to do away with 2 of your adversaries, but in the meanwhile, the other 2 have brought your hit points dangerously low. Swallowing your pride, you decide to run. You escape a few gold coins to the richer, but you are in severe need of healing. I just love
Hmm.
how that
That
passage makes it
is.
sound like you are making so many decisions and it's
Hmm.
so like D&D-esque when in reality,
Yeah.
it's
That
not that.
that is what happened to me, and I was sitting there like, this is clearly not what I'm supposed to be doing. What the fuck's happening? And also, a lot of that passage took about 1 minute.
Right. Right. And also that's basically the entire, like that is what the
Yeah.
whole game is kind of.
Yeah.
um Anyway, their criticisms here. One of them was that the dungeons in Ultima have no rooms, only corridors.
Mm,
This may seem really trivial, but to a dedicated fantasy role player, it's a moderate drawback. I'm not sure I
mm.
understand why. What is that?
Yeah, well, in
Why do they want
Wizardry, you see they
rooms?
had rooms. Yeah, it is funny because you might think that this is like a Zork Colossal Cave Adventure thing, the difference between the little corridor and the actual description of a room. But this is definitely saying, in Wizardry, sometimes there's just a big box you end up in,
Yeah,
as opposed to going down a corridor. Oh, fuck, what is your problem?
that's another fascinating thing here. The review says they call this an adventure game. They say adventure games can be classified into two major categories: those that
Hmm.
involve solving a puzzle and those that involve fantasy and role playing. And they just say like Zork and adventure for the first one, and they mention wizardry and Ultima as the second kind. So again, we didn't. No one
Hmm.
really called them RPGs yet. There was still
Yeah.
we didn't know what that meant.
Yeah, yeah, interesting. I should also note you don't roll your character at the beginning. You just in
Right, you
Wizardry it
decide.
rolls stats and you add and whatever. In this one they just give you blank stats and then you put your points in and then you go. It's
Yet
always the same.
another huge
Mm.
improvement, in my opinion. Just
Mhm.
so much more accessible and nice.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's right. More accessible for sure. I think there's something to putting some randomness in there to give it
there
personality, but
can be, but
yeah, but
because the game
yeah.
is so like difficult, and
Yes.
because it's so important what your stats are,
Yeah.
it just becomes a pain point.
Yes, yeah, 100%. Like honestly what makes this game interesting has nothing to do with any of that bullshit. So like it would honestly be better another thing Final Fantasy improved on is just giving you four different kinds or five different kinds of guys. Six? I don't remember. Some number of
A
different kinds of
bunch.
guys you can pick from rather than being like, let me make my fighter. And then it doesn't matter.
Mm,
That's not interesting. I don't care about that.
that's right.
But
No more
also
numbers, you
yeah,
fucking
but
nerds.
also it is true that like it doesn't matter, right? You can put your numbers in and then forget about it and it never matters again. So like it's only really a problem if you're hyper focused on the first minute of playing the game.
Right.
So who cares?
I mean, just the fact that, remember, for wizardry, like half your experience was
Hmm.
making characters.
Yeah, yeah.
Sucked.
Fuck wizardry.
Fuck wizardry. Okay. So thanks for that classic review written by apparently John Williams. I didn't know that he ever wrote
Whoa,
game
damn!
reviews. Yeah, it's
Wow.
interesting. By
Yeah,
the
we're
way, I
kind of game
mentioned,
reviewers now because we give
I,
IGN scores.
well, we are.
We and John Williams are kind of, you know, very similar in our like artistic endeavors, I would say. Like our output, our creative output.
Yeah, I think maybe we're better.
Yeah, maybe.
I mentioned this in the intro, but the creator of this game, Richard Garriott, is the son of an astronaut and also became an astronaut himself. He is, I think it said he's the second person um, and first from the US to go to space whose parent also went to space. So
What a
this is an interesting guy.
that is
Yeah.
like the shittiest achievement ever to be the
He's a
second
Nepo
guy.
astronaut.
Not the first guy to ever do it, but the second guy. Not
Well,
the second guy to go to space. The second
listen,
guy to go to space who also had parents who went to space. Really, it's his parents who did something cool. And
that's
it
kind of
wasn't even that.
interesting. I think it's interesting.
It's kind of interesting, but when you spell it out, it's a
Listen,
little bit
listen.
like, listen,
Going to
we're
space at
really
all,
reaching. Yes.
going to space
Is
is
it
pretty
is it
interesting.
really that much more interesting than just having gone to space at
How about
all?
this? How about this? While he was there, he filmed a movie,
Whoa, that's cool.
Apogee of Fear, a 2012 science fiction comedy short film. The first narrative fiction film made completely in space.
That's cool. I like that.
Sounds like something for the Patreon.
It does sound like something for the Patreon.
It's only 8 minutes long.
Well, I had actually an idea about a thing related to this that could get shoved onto the Patreon. Maybe we'll do the Ultima collection for the Patreon at some point, the next Ultima game.
What does that mean?
Well, we'll just get a bunch of like small little things to comment on. We'll do all of them at once.
For like, huh? Like for each Ultima game? I don't know what that means.
Well, like a bunch of like small, like this is like related to Ultima, but it's too short. And I could put like a short story, and there could be like three other things, and they're all too small for their own episode, but they're all related to Ultima. So you have one episode.
Do you have
The
any
Ultima
other
collection.
things in mind?
Well, we have time, right? It would be for a different game.
Okay,
Wouldn't be for
sure.
like we're not doing it this week. What are we doing this week?
Well, we before we say that, we do have some
Oh.
emails.
Oh. Well, you teed me up for it.
Well, not. I think you teed yourself up for it.
You were the one who started talking about the Patreon.
Okay, all right. We just got a couple of emails we got to read. It's time for an MMO. A
At
massive
couple,
mail
is that,
opening, of
Is
course.
that massive at a couple? Okay.
Well, it's a moderate. Let's say it's a moderate mail opening. First, quickly, Steve P has a comment about last week's episode in which we discussed Mega Man. Steve P says, I completely empathize with Will on the platforming in Gutsman's stage. Those moving platforms near the beginning tripped me up for years. There is a little ball under each platform, and the platforms drop out when that ball runs over a busted section of the track. For some reason, I could not wrap my head around this. I kept jumping when the front edge of the platform reached the busted part. That's way too early to make the jump. I did eventually get the hang of Gutsman's stage, but until then, I could only beat it with a high jump cheat code. Which brings me to a question. Can we get a Game Genie episode?
I mean, that second part's for you, but the difference between you and me, Steve P, is that I very quickly figured out that it only drops when the ball goes over, not the edge. Still couldn't do it.
Yeah, I figured that out, but it still did take me a while to really get the timing of it down. And even then, I didn't do it consistently. So it's just a hard thing either way. That might be maybe that's a Patreon episode too. I'm talking about Game Genie. I don't really know. Should we, unless people want us to like actually use a Game Genie? I don't know how we would do it exactly. I was more of a Game Shark guy. I never had a genie. I had a shark.
Yeah.
I think maybe Game Genie was more Sega, possibly. I don't know. But we'll take that under advisement. If you have more specific suggestions for Patreons for that or anything else, let us know. Okay. And next we have an email here from, Nick, no last name, who has sent us Bad with Games email 3 of 3.
Oh, yeah.
Part 1.
I've been awaiting this for a long time, but I guess I'm going to have to wait a little bit longer.
This is just part 1 of the trilogy.
Is this the one that's about ethics in games podcasting?
No, I think that's going to be part 2. Actually, and it's just as part 1. It doesn't say out of how many.
We don't know. Who knows?
there might be several parts.
Maybe there's only one part.
I don't think so. He does say there will be a part 2, but here I will just read it because there's a lot in here.
Okay.
Nick writes, "Hi, baddies. Finally going to get into the last couple of big questions and comments I had for this season. But first, I wanted to suggest some section titles for the podcast. Tell me what you think. Maybe you can find or create sound bites for each section too." Okay? So, as listeners or viewers may know, we have been struggling to name our different podcast segments. I have told listeners to submit their own, and this is the first time anyone has. So maybe I'll just go through these one at a time, and we can kind of see which ones we like. Let's live criticize them.
Good job, Nick, for actually stepping up to the challenge here.
Sure. So Nick writes, after the theme music for the pod, you do a bit of an intro and then jump into background experience with the game. I think this section you could call patch notes. Pretty self-explanatory.
Is it?
I like the name. It's catchy and it is video game related. I don't know that it precisely explains what the segment is. But so I'm not in love with that one, but I don't know.
It's fu
I like the name.
Interesting. I don't know that I get it. Can you explain it to me?
I don't well, patch notes would be like when a game has an update, they release
Right.
patch notes which tell you what so I guess it's like us giving our update of our notes about our history with the game, but it's not
Oh,
really
I
it's just not
see. Because yeah, because like, if you wanna know. Okay, I get it, I get it, yeah.
here's what you missed since last time maybe kind of is the idea.
Right, like, you'd scroll through older versions to see what the notes were on each version, so now I
I
know.
I
Okay,
don't know.
I get.
We'll see. Okay. Next, for discussing the cover art, you could call this section screen peeking. It's a slightly longer walk to get there for this one, but it is about looking at the box art and discussing it together, so kind of makes sense. What do you
I
think
don't
about
get this one either.
so this is a term that I always said screen looking, but I guess maybe you could I'm sure both are in use. Maybe it's a regional thing. This is a reference to like when you would play split screen multiplayer games, like if you were
Uh,
playing GoldenEye, if somebody was like
what did
looking at your screen to see where you are, that's
what
kind of
did I call that?
cheating.
I had a phrase for that, and I swear it was neither of those, but I don't know what it was.
It might
Interesting.
have been something offensive.
It's fully possible. By the way,
um,
here's my punch up for patch notes. So, instead of
okay.
patch notes, think like version history, but let's do virgin
Hmm.
history.
Okay, you maybe went too far. We're
Eh,
gonna workshop that. Screen peeking, not. I don't know. I still think it's maybe as you said too long a walk, but I like where your head is at. So far, rejecting both of these. Fuck you, Nick.
mhm,
Third one, the section where you get into. We have a lot of sections, by the way. The section where you get into
sure.
discussing your experience of playing the game over the week, I think should be called lore dump. Now, shouldn't this be the patch notes section? Like our lore with the
Yeah.
game? I
Yeah,
like
yeah,
lore.
I
Lore should
do.
be in there
I
somewhere.
always love lore. You know how I am about lore.
Yeah, we're lore heads on this show.
Yeah, I'm the lore bore, they call
Right.
me.
So I like this one, but I feel like it's misplaced. Okay. Rating the game should simply be called high score, and contemporary reviews seems obviously retro review.
Mm,
That does seem like a kind of an A to
retro
B
review.
connection. How did I never make that one happen?
That one's solid. That one's
Yeah,
very solid.
I do think that beats classic review corner.
For sure, yeah.
Finally, not finally, the section for reading and responding to listener emails should now be called proximity chat. And finally, for when there's additional content like songs, you can call that section expansion pack.
Hmm,
We'll contemplate all of these. We'll consider these, but we appreciate the suggestions. I mean,
expansion pack.
you're doing a service.
I'm trying to think how you would, because you'd be like, "Oh, it turns out there's actually an expansion pack for this episode, or maybe, like, DLC for
That
this
feels like more what we
episode?"
would have called our Patreon as the
Our page
expansion
where we
pack.
would have called it if we'd thought about it.
I didn't think about it. That would have been good. We could retroactively change it. Should we
Excited
just
for the
call it
idea
the
of.
what?
No,
What?
no. Well, I'm just imagining these sound, because he's also talking about we could make sound bites or
Of
clips, right?
course. Which listen, you think I haven't considered that? I've
Yeah.
considered that.
Okay. Okay. All right.
All right. And Nick has another suggestion for additional
Mm.
context you can throw into the podcast and really help pad out the length of each episode, which we clearly need.
I think we need that a lot.
Since you already provided context in the form of the lineage of games, I recall thinking that all the text adventure game talk helped inform me on that genre since I never played any text adventure games. So I think it would be nice to also highlight what games are popular at the time of release or the game you're discussing. Maybe going to be more difficult in season 1, but with later games you could use VG charts. This website shows best-selling games throughout the history of gaming. I needed to fire this email off quick since you guys still seem to be struggling with naming the sections of your podcast. I'll be
Mhm.
back soon with part 2. Your pro bono podcast producer listener, Nick no last name. So yeah, VG chart. That's interesting. Yeah, maybe we'll try to
Uh,
slip in at some point
yeah,
some.
I do
what's
like that
going
idea
on.
because one thing I do try to ground myself with, and this wouldn't help me, this VG charts thing necessarily. Maybe it would, when we get later on. But I do try to ground myself with saying, oh, for example, in this, oh, it's the same year as Wizardry. Oh, it's a couple years before this game, or a year
Mhm.
after this game. In terms of games I already know, a listener who knows more games than me might appreciate that. I think that that's probably a pretty good idea to do something to that extent.
Yeah, I've been doing it sort of with the games we already discussed,
Hmm.
but yeah, haven't looked into games we haven't discussed. So certainly, in some cases, that is important. Or even this week, I brought up Dragon Quest a couple times, even though we haven't played it
Hmm.
yet. Yeah, these things
Yeah,
can be
so I don't
helpful.
know what any of that means. Yeah.
Sure, good note. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you, Nick.
Can't wait for part two.
I mean, you can't get better work pro bono, I'll say that.
No, in fact, is Nick a patron? He's paying us to work for for him, maybe for us.
It's possible.
All right. If you're not a patron, you can be. You can email us for free, badwithgamespodcast@gmail.com. We'll read it on the show. Or sign up for our patreon.com/badwithgames. This week, our topic of discussion will be the third Planet of the Apes film, Escape from the Planet of the Apes. If you're a real ape head like us, you want to get in
Mhm.
on that action. And next week on the main show, we'll be talking about, this is kind of a big one. Next week is Zelda 2, The
Whoa.
Adventure of Link.
I knew I brought up Zelda for a reason this pod.
Sure.
Maybe you did.
The second Zelda game, pretty exciting. We're going back to Hyrule, baby. Okay. We got to get the fuck out of here. This is way too long.
Yeah. Bad. We
Thanks
need
for
to control
listening.
ourselves.
I don't know, there's a lot of weird shit about Ultima that needed to be, we needed to read every letter of the alphabet.
Well, the gamers were getting in our spaceship and